irrelevant, but I get 250,000 views this month. Irrelevant? Hello, everybody. How the hell is it going? This is RMTS 146. We got Garrett and Verlisify with us as always. This is an episode I've been thoroughly excited for about like 3 months now, 2 months now, something like that. Been talking to Garrett on and off about coming on and doing an episode and having some fun, learning some shit about Destiny, his YouTube, which is hopefully going to blow up here at any point in time, and his life story, because I'm sure it's probably rather unique and you guys will definitely shit yourself about it. So go check out G Fuel, check out the merch. Also, we're really fucking close to hitting 1,000 subs on YouTube. So if we get to that, we're going to be doing a merch giveaway, either this one or the champion hoodie with G Fuel as well. So if you guys want to get to that, help us get to 1,000 subs, share, and all of those things will be extra entries into the giveaway itself. So go get that checked out. Realist, how's it been going, bud?
Nothing's happening in Pokemon because as a content creator, and like that's why I'm also really hype about Garrett, because I was looking at your channel, I was like, oh, he is dialed in, he gets it. We can actually like talk YouTube with people, and it's going to be really cool. On my end, I do Pokemon. Yeah, on my end, I do Pokemon, and nothing happens in May. We get our announcement in like February. We have to wait until June, like Nintendo Direct kind of thing, and then the game comes out in November. So this is the downtime where it's like, don't tell me what I'm doing. I'm doing nothing. I'm playing League of Legends and getting mad.
Yep. Oh yeah. Every time I hear people talk about League, it's just like they hate the game. They hate everything about it, but you continue to play. Destiny definitely gets like that a lot. But I'm waiting for some Pokemon news too. Like I'm waiting to get back into it. So I just got a Switch. I played every single Pokemon game since Red and Blue when Steve and I were kids. And my college roommate was, I don't know if you know Thomas Mifflin. He was like very into competitive Pokemon. He went to Hawaii in like 2010 and competed at the whatever.
I'm trying to think, because I actually know about like the Pokemon worlds and stuff. Because I know of like Knight Sylvain. He was like one of the first Pokemon champions ever. So like 2010 Hawaii. There's not a lot of names there. So
yeah, he was. He introduced himself as just like, hey, I have competed at the world championships for Pokemon. I went to Hawaii. So I was like, teach me everything. And so, because I've always been a gamer, so it was like around the Diamond Pearl era that he was like, all right, these are what EVs are. These are IVs. This is how you breed Pokemon. I was like, oh, my mind, just because I was just like playing it for the story. And then I saw like the power and like how insane you could get with IV breeding and all that stuff. So yeah, I nerded out for like black and white.
That has me very hype and nerded out right now.
Yeah. I mean, I played all the way up until Sun and Moon was the last one I played. And then once the Switch came out, I was just like, I wasn't as excited about the Switch, and the game like Sword and Shield didn't get a really good review. Sorry, I know I'm just like spewing off here, but that's kind of been my Pokemon journey. I've been very into it, and I always kind of keep an eye out on Pokemon stuff. But I'm waiting for that game that's just like, all right, let's go. You know,
ironically, there is Let's Go. You know, Pokemon Let's Go.
There's
Pikachu
Let's Go.
Eevee.
I did. So I have Let's Go Eevee. I've got my wife Let's Go Pikachu. So we've been playing that, and that's fun. That was her first Pokemon game ever, so it's just kind of fun.
That is my favorite Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah,
it's better than Sword and Shield. It's better than Scarlet and Violet, because it's like a Pokemon adventure, and then those mechanics are also cool because you have catch combos. So if you catch like 40 of the Pokemon in a row, like you get IVs, free IVs. It's not like how crazy it was back in Generation 4, where it's pretty much impossible. And that was pretty much my whole thing. I got competitive Generation 4, super competitive Generation 5, Generation 6. I went, why am I not making YouTube videos?
Yeah,
and then he blows up overnight from making competitive YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So your friend finished top 32 with a cheating Pokemon champion, surprisingly.
Oh.
Yep.
So like
Ray Rizzo won the championship, I believe, once or twice, cheating once or twice as well.
Like that's also my whole thing, which is why the entire Pokemon community hates me, because I go through all their icons and I'm like, he cheated, he cheated, he cheated, he cheated, because everyone's just hacking. Not saying that about your friend, but the person that won 2010, the person that won 2010, Ray Rizzo, he was like, he's known as the GOAT. He's the best. He's won 3 Pokemon World Championships. But you look at it, he has full shiny teams of legendary Pokemon, and anyone
Okay,
that's
that
done
wasn't
competitive.
him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he I don't think
I
he
was just saying
won.
he finished
I think he placed very high.
top
Yeah.
32.
He top 32.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I
he
didn't.
got invited to
I would've known if he
Worlds
was one.
and finished top 32.
That's still
Cool.
good.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's huge.
There's a lot to like just
Yeah.
break down and stuff. It's complex and all that. But yeah, like Ray
Yeah.
Rizzo. Again, you look at like all of his teams are shiny legendaries. If you know IVs, it's like, wait a second, you're not guaranteed more than 3 IVs, and you have
Right.
that and hidden power. It's like, oh, his odds were 1 in trillions, and he just hacked them in, and that's why he won because he had better Pokemon than were possible.
That's crazy how that isn't screened more. I don't know. I don't know a lot about how they screen that, but you feel like that would be easy to detect something like that.
I think as gaming goes, everybody's gotten more and more thought-provoking into, I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I feel like, and if something happens, I'm going to download another free game and do the same thing again. And with everything not having a paywall to it now, it seems like it's just becoming more and more and more accessible. Pokemon's really easy. I did it at fucking 13.
Yeah. Well, the problem with Pokemon is that the stats are possible. So it's not like he had 999 hit points. He had a possible perfect Pokemon that you just could not obtain in your lifetime. So even though it's like 100% against the rules, it's hacked. You're not allowed to have it. The Pokemon
you can't
company
prove that
like
he hacked unless it's something
you can't prove
bigger enough for them to point to.
It's
even though everyone
possible.
Yeah, everyone knows Dream cheated though, and who's going to be the judge at the Pokemon company that tells a kid, "Hey, I know you used a Game Shark or an Action Replay to hack this."
Yeah.
So they just never had the balls to actually ban blatant cheating, and it's only gotten worse.
That sucks. Yeah, that is really annoying. I know, like in Destiny, there have been times where cheaters have run rampant, and then Bungie will get really on it, and they're less prone to be able to cheat. They back, I think it might have been a few years ago, they added a paywall to it, so you had to basically pay to have the expansion in order to participate in the Trials of Osiris competitive mode. And then they found a way around that. Like they always will find a way around it, and there'll be times where it's like, yes, cheating's fixed. And then 2 months later, it's just what's going on. This guy's flying around the map, one-shotting everybody, like through walls.
In competitive Call of Duty for Warzone and shit, you were able to de-rank yourself with your SBMM, but also as you were shooting so often, throwing grenades at your feet, it was increasing your MMR, so you were dropping in skill base, but increasing in your like overall rank. So you were jumping from like unranked all the way up to platinum in one game just by throwing grenades at your feet and shit like that. And then it was dropping you into SPMM games where there was only like people with no thumbs on the other side. And you were dropping 40, 50 kills and then being put into top 250, almost guaranteed in like 3 to 5 games.
Wow. That's wild. The most recent one in Destiny a couple days ago is the friend overload, where you can, like, people were basically stream sniping people for, like, Asdacross, a big YouTuber, got error coded because while he was streaming, you can basically like spam friend requests and it breaks your game and it sends you out of the game. So it's a competitive mode.
Yeah,
that sounds like an
and
Xbox
you're getting
360
sent
problem.
Yeah, I know. That's like
an old school developer. Like, how did you not see this coming?
Yeah,
that reminds me of the whole. If you watch the Wings 1v1, there's a friend request and a message pop up every 2 seconds. Look at this corner. Look at this corner. I'm like, fuck. You know, at some point, some people with some badass internet or a bad overheated 360 was sitting there and it fucking died because they got so many messages and shit. But
yeah, for sure. Red Ring of Death all over again.
And the deeper thing about Pokemon is like Ray Rizzo ended up working for Pokemon. Their friends that were also cheating worked in, so like they just took the risk. Yeah, they just took the risk. They're like, well, we can play dumb and say like, hey, it's possible. We just got lucky or whatever stupid thing. Pokemon Company never put their foot down, and now everyone's cheating, and everyone's working for Pokemon as cheaters, and they can't acknowledge it. Like, it's so big where if they said like, hey, all these people cheated, we have to ban them, they have no scene. It evaporates overnight. So cheating in gaming sucks and only gets more common as people get more like entitled and bratty and shit.
Cheating is the worst.
As we saw 2 weeks ago, the Switch is one of the best consoles selling of all time. It has 3 pretty damn good Pokemon games in it. Obviously, they need a little bit of help with kind of ironing out kinks, but they could have been fantastic. How the hell is the fucking Pokemon scene shrinking in size as time goes on? it's just weird to me. It doesn't fucking make sense. It's getting worse. And it's
Yeah.
like these games are blowing up off of fucking nothing. It's like you have Zelda that's growing massively right now. You have
Animal
Pokemon that could
Crossing.
be.
New Horizons
Animal
like 40
Crossing blew
million
up. Yep.
sales. Beats everything but Mario Kart. It's crazy.
Yeah. Mario
Yeah.
Kart. That game was fucking fantastic too. They were like, just ship it with everything. Smart idea. You did the same exact thing Wii Sports did and just sold more and more and
Yeah.
more copies of it.
I'm just waiting on better hardware for the Switch, and that was why I
Switch 2's
waited
coming.
so long, is because I'm thinking like I mean I was mainly like Xbox, PlayStation, a more powerful system, and now I'm on PC, which obviously you just can't compare that with the Switch. I've always loved Nintendo games though. That's the thing, and I would just see my friend Switch and be like, man, the graphics. I know they're not everything in the game because I could go back and play the 3DS, but it just seemed like my opinion was that Nintendo just kind of got lazy almost, where they're like, everyone's going to buy it regardless. We can just ship a cheap system. Everyone can get it. And then I'm going like, all right, when's the Switch 2 coming out? I was saying that like 3 years ago because the rumors started coming out. I was like, hey, Switch 2 anytime now. And I know now we're probably really close.
So
I don't
a
know.
tweet came out in the middle of the night, what, like 3-4 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Just under a month ago, announcing Switch 2. They have the announcement ready for it's going to happen.
Well, it was the announcement of the announcement.
Yeah.
It was just
exactly.
like Nintendo officially
We're
posted,
doing
like,
this.
This is the Nintendo president on the official Nintendo account. Nintendo Direct in June. It's not going to have Nintendo Switch news. That's in November. So they're going to have like Nintendo Switch 2 announcement in November.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that'll be here, I guess, before we know it. But I remember seeing channels in January, February going like, it's any day now. We're going to get an announcement
2 years
next
ago.
week.
They are all fakes.
Nintendo.
They're all frauds. Another reason why everyone hates me, because I'm the stick in the mud that says all this shit is fake. All these rumors are lies. They've always been lies for the last decade. And it's just every month they're just like, we're due for a Nintendo Direct. We're due for an announcement. And it's like, no,
Well, if you sit there and say it always, it will be true at some point.
Yeah, at some point. And then it's going to be like, see, I told you we were going to get one.
Yeah, and then they keep getting views because, like, the desperation of knowing when the next Nintendo Switch is, I gotta click on it. Maybe he's telling the truth this time. Maybe there's official news this time.
At some point, I promise.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah,
honestly.
clickbait is, I hate clickbait very much. So most of my videos, any videos that I do,
somewhat consistent.
Yeah, you have to make a thumbnail and title like catchy but never misleading. Like I just don't like to do that. I started off being like literally I would say raid guide Valve the Disciple or like raid guide King's Fall, and it was the worst titles ever. But I'm like, I just don't want to clickbait. But then I realized like, all right, I gotta be like, here's how you do this easily or something.
And you become too direct with it, and then all of a sudden you're not catching the vague. It's so fucking hell, man. Such fucking hell.
It's always a fine line, and there's good points to both, I guess. So
honestly, the thing that I see Nintendo doing after the Switch 2 is the same thing I see Xbox doing because they're losing. And Sony will probably have to do it too. They're going to turn them into game services that we purchase for our PC. Just like PC Game Pass right now. It's going there at some point, unless Nintendo is going to do, I have a Steam Deck, we're going to release a Steam Deck, it still connects to everything. They're going to be out then if they don't here. The Switch 2 might be the last console they release. Unless it's something like a Steam Deck.
I know. I was hearing like Xbox, the next Xbox system might be the last one now with all the stuff that's going on with Microsoft and how they're Microsoft gaming now, and the Xbox name is kind of fading away. It's really sad, actually.
Well, they had such a perfect platform with the 360, and they absolutely fucked it by the Series X. They fucked it both of the last 2 generations. They've lost 2 in a row now. And if you look at it, since we were all kids, that's the first time one console has won back-to-back generations.
Yeah.
Because you would think N64 won that generation with PS1. They probably blew everybody out of the water. Then you have PS2 knock everybody out of the fucking water. GameCube wasn't even a contender. Then you have 360.
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
Then you have PS4, and then you have PS5, who clearly won both because the Switch would be in between the two.
Do you remember when Man, yeah, Xbox got hammered on
Yeah.
going into the
They
Xbox
went from
One.
first to third.
Yeah, when it was PlayStation came back with the video that's like, "Here's how you share games on PlayStation," and someone handed the
Yep.
Oh,
PlayStation game because you had to both
The
people had
crazy
to have an
thing,
Xbox Live account or something
the
in order to
crazy
share
thing is
games.
they weren't wrong in what they wanted to do. They were right, and we gaslit them away from it.
Yeah,
They said, "Okay, you can now gift your friends games online. You just won't be able to play it until they're done with it." Why is that so hard? It
yeah.
gives them the key. Oh, here's how to share
The
a game.
always
And
online thing was
it's like,
bad though,
fuck. Oh,
where,
it is
and
that
you
was
had
ahead
now
to
of its
have it
in
time.
connect
defense,
or
but how
something.
many people
Yeah.
accept it still? How many people only buy digital games and then when
Oh,
their
for
internet's
sure.
out, they're like, "Oh fuck, why can't
Yeah,
I play?" We got the same thing everybody was complaining about, 10 years ago. It still happened. Everybody
yeah.
just complained.
Well, less
The
people were
world it's like
connected.
they brought yeah,
Less
they
people
brought
were
it too
connected.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's crazy because in the grand scheme of things, the same things fucking happened. We just didn't get any of the benefit. Now you can only it sucks because I have 2 PS5s in my house and now 3 gaming PCs. The 3 gaming PCs by far are more expensive because now I have to buy the game 3 fucking times instead of game sharing it
Yeah,
across all of the PlayStations because it worked like that. There is no game sharing that way anymore. You can't just, "Oh, I'm gonna share this with my kid. I'm gonna share this with my other kid, and we all can fucking play the game at the same fucking time." Nope, you can't. It doesn't fucking matter.
yeah. I know, like, the Switch can get very expensive. Just having because everyone wants to have their own Switch, you have to buy a game for every single Switch. My niece and nephew just got one each,
Yep.
and they
Hmm.
both want to play the same game at the same time because 'cause they're
Use
like
Switch Lights. It
and
works.
or yeah. They're like, "I wanna play that game." Well, he's playing it right now. "No, I wanna play it now." "Okay, we'll buy it," buy a second game
Yep.
even though they're right there, they're siblings. I don't
That's
know.
fascinating because
Yeah.
it used to be you had to have your own Game Boy for everyone, and there were no profiles. And
Yeah.
the Nintendo Switch has profiles. That sounds like the greatest thing ever because, like, oh, just now your brother logs in, they can play, and they don't have to
Yeah.
overwrite your Pokemon save file, and you lose everything. And one game works multiple times, which Nintendo didn't have before. And then everyone's like, "No, Nintendo Switch is actually cracked, and we're all just getting our own anyways."
Well,
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, think about it this way. Even if you look at it as you and your kid, I know neither one of you guys have one, but like you go to hand your Switch to your kid, you don't want them playing on your game file. They're going to delete shit. They're going to get
No, but
rid of
that's
shit.
that's the thing about the
Have,
Switch.
They're gonna
You
have
just
ruin
them
it.
make
start
another
a
Yeah.
new one.
profile.
Why
Yep.
would you want to put your Switch down? What if I want to play too?
Yeah, but that's the
Yeah.
difference.
Just get
Yeah.
them one. Just get
Mhm.
them one. It's easier because, like in the grand scheme of things, it's a $200 thing. They're going to get so much more enjoyment out of it than what you really perceive.
Yeah, and if you go the opposite direction, you run into the issue of, like, 19 people sharing one Netflix account, and it's like, "All right,
And now that
you
Netflix
gotta
account
have
is
some
$200 a
boundaries."
month.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's crazy how much more expensive Netflix has gotten. It just goes up. I
Yeah.
looked recently, I'm like, "Wait, I'm paying" what is
Isn't it
it? I
like
mean, it's like 20
$5 an IP address now? Something like that?
something like that, yeah. But if you get, like, the 4K quality, I remember paying it was like $7.99 a month, I feel like in
Mhm.
2013, 2014. Now it's like
100%. Yeah.
21.99 a month, I think. So, yeah. I mean, it's what is that? In 1 month, it's not that much, but then you add it up with all the other streaming
Yeah.
services, and they've all gone up too, and Netflix is
Well,
kinda leading the charge there, so
the
everything's just gonna
problem
raise up.
is they went back to the same exact fucking cable model that we had literally 5, 6 years ago. We tried to get rid of cable, so we're like, "Okay, we want one thing that solves the entire problem." Now we're all like, "Guys, they fucked us again. They did the same exact thing again. We have to buy all
Yeah,
of them again." Now
exactly.
it's
Yeah,
still over
yeah.
$140 a month to have all the content.
People
Guys,
are gonna
buy
go back to
YouTube.
cable.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yep.
that I'm so pissed because I've been watching Doctor Stone and season 3 is only on Crunchyroll, but season 2 is on like Hulu and Netflix, but Netflix only has the current season of like The Simpsons
Oh,
and all the
that's
adult
terrible.
comedy because Disney bought The Simpsons. So if you want all like season 1
Well, they bought
Simpsons,
Fox.
well, whatever happened, like uh season 1 Simpsons that's only on Disney Plus, but if you get Disney Plus Hulu, that's $25 with ads. The whole with ads thing, that's the fucking
Yeah,
most
with
pissed
ads is
off
the worst.
yeah, this pissed off scam where it's like, oh, you can get it for $10 with 6 ads every 10 minutes. And
I
people get mad
explained
at our YouTube videos and we have 1, 2 ads every 12
Yeah.
minutes.
I explained the craziest thing the other day. I was like, I know it's hilarious. I pay for service, right? They hand me a router and say, okay, here, this is a $5 charge. So I have to pay again to use your service because I'm renting something from you. If you
Yeah.
upgrade this, I have to call you and ask you if there's an upgrade available because my service is shitty. You're a shitty fucking company. Garbage right there. Right there. I'm paying
Yeah.
for the service. I'm paying for the availability to the service. And anytime you upgrade, I have to call and ask if it's available. That's fucking insane. And these cable companies are just doing it over and over and over again to these 60, 70-year-olds that are absolutely out of touch and have no idea what the fuck's going on, using shit from 10 years ago. And they're like, "Oh, you're still using that? Yeah, why wouldn't I be using this? I've paid for it."
Yeah.
No, sir, you still pay $5 a month for a box that's 10 years old. You're stealing. That's fucking wrong. That's so gross.
Yeah. That is terrible. Yeah, I can't stand that. My parents had an email account like back. I mean, they made their email accounts back in the 90s, and I think they were paying like a monthly service fee even years after they weren't using that email anymore because you had to pay for it to have an email. That's
Yeah,
how old the email addresses were. And it was like, 20 years later, like, I've been paying this monthly? What? It's just
dude,
wild.
my parents,
They
they
just
didn't
don't
even
think
pay their
about it.
bills that were in front of them. I couldn't imagine them paying something
Yeah.
that wasn't in front of them.
Yeah.
I
Realizing that after all that time. I can't imagine paying for email.
the weirdest email thing that I had, it was back in the late 90s. We had this thing that plugged into our TV that essentially became like an internet browser. It was like smart TV for dumb TVs back in the day. It was like late 90s. It was called Web TV. And it absolutely did not work for anything other than like surfing the web, which was going through Ask Jeeves, and that was all that there was.
Ask
That was
Jeeves.
the
Wow.
weirdest fucking thing in the world. We had this big ass fucking TV. It was like a 42-inch TV inside of a cabinet. And the top of it was the most solid wood I've ever seen in my life. It was not the, press board that everything's made out of today. That TV was like 450 pounds. And at some point it ended up in my bedroom, and that was the greatest fucking thing in the world.
The giant box TVs, they were
Yeah.
so legendary. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I remember seeing those and just being like, this is the future.
And all
And
CRTs were just so good.
yeah, it was funny though when like the first widescreens that came out, they couldn't figure out the stretched resolution. So that was just normal. You went to everybody's house and watched a movie and stretched. Because like half the movies were widescreen and there was no way to fix it. You couldn't do the square resolution yet.
Was that fucking DS where you clicked the bumper buttons and it went from widescreen to full screen?
Yeah, I think that was the DS where it like restretched the old Game Boy Advance games that you
Yeah,
plugged in.
exactly.
Oh
Like you could
yeah.
press the bumper
Yeah.
buttons and it would stretch it. I
Yeah.
was like, wait, was that a TV or was that a fucking game system? I'm sitting here trying to figure it out because one of them gave it both, and I was like, wow, this is really fucking
I
weird.
totally forgot about that, but I know that
Yeah,
that is something
Wow.
that kind of
Yeah.
existed somehow.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
exactly. Like it triggered a complete weird ass fucking core memory of stretching some game over a TV, and I don't remember where it was. That was fucking weird. But no, that shit was really fucking weird. Have you ever gone back and watched like some of the differences in like Disney movies and shit?
Some of
Like
the different no.
instead of
No.
stretching them, they cut out parts and left in the full screen version. It gives you more information and more details and things like cars, where it will be like
Oh.
complete
Hmm.
like things that are nods to other things. They just cut out of the widescreen version. They're like, we made this for full screen. We don't care. We don't care. If you're not going to go back and watch it that way, it's okay. But we're not going to refilm the entire thing. They just cut off entire sections of the movie to cut it into wide
Wow.
Yeah,
and
I
then
like
did
it was
not
stretch
know
the
that,
rendered
no.
rest.
16 by
Yeah.
9.
And that
Yeah.
was like most movies or all movies
Uh,
from Disney?
quite a few Disney
Some.
movies. I don't,
Like
yeah.
some movies still did that. They were just like, "Hey, we don't care that only like 10% of people have a widescreen television for DVD. This is going on the theater." And then when you get your home version, it's like VHS doesn't have it all.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, no,
Shit, that's
and
crazy.
it's cut really shoddily too. So I'm not going to watch the video, but I will show you this image right here. Kind of just proves the point. Let's see exact. Yep, there. This
Come on, Zach.
one.
Yeah, producer Zach, let's go.
Let's see how much over
Oh,
he
that
is.
cuts a
And
lot off. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, no, it's fucking ass backwards. It makes no fucking sense.
Well, it also depends on like, because there's also like the ultra wide resolution, so that's why you
Yep.
get the black bars even on like your
Mhm.
widescreen. So like that has to go somewhere depending on where they're putting it.
And like it cuts out some of the context to everything. And it's just weird. Like it's just why? Why would you do that?
It doesn't fit otherwise.
No.
Well,
No.
they could have re-rendered it just like they did with other movies.
Mm.
They just chose not to. They're like, well, this is how we wanted you to watch it. So they said, fuck it. So you had a few topics for Alyssa that you wanted to talk to him about his YouTube channel.
Yeah, just like the YouTube channel. I was like,
Yeah.
Okay.
we're gonna find a way to
Nope.
pivot into that because I'm looking at your channel. I'm just like, this dude just like came in and set up and has like a legit, like a surprisingly legit channel, and it's just solid. And then
Oh,
everything
thanks.
about you, where like I click on the video, it's like, you look good, you have a professional setup. This doesn't happen for most channels.
No,
And
you're
then I
high
watched,
quality from the beginning.
yeah,
And
high
that kind
quality
of
like
like
that. And
smacks
then I watch
everybody.
your
Thank
update
you.
video, and it's like, oh yeah, this is like the rarest of holy shit. It's a genuine dude making good content that deserves growth. I'm not used to that in modern YouTube. I like that's
Oh
another
man.
reason everyone hates me because I'm like, no cheating, no clickbaiting, and you just seem like you're all in it for the money and being like not genuine. So I've made a lot of enemies, and that just is how Pokemon has become. They only care about the money, and I
Yeah.
can look at like I'm really good at like looking at a YouTube channel and being like, I don't trust the content you're giving me, or I feel like your information's not gonna be accurate. You don't care and you don't have the passion. But this, I'm just like surprised. Where it's like, yo, this dude just shows up, 17,000 subscribers, good thumbnails. Even though you said like your old titles were kind of sketchy. Yeah, Destiny
I've
2,
gone and
Pit of
changed
Heresy.
some of them, but yeah,
Exactly.
the first video, Pit of Heresy, Solo
Solo
Flawless
flawless.
God, like
Ooh,
it's just
I'm I want to watch that so bad. And
yeah,
then
right.
it's like,
Like
but that pivots into the other thing. Whenever I give someone YouTube advice, just start. It doesn't matter if you're shit.
mhm.
Just
Yep.
start making YouTube videos. You're gonna get better at talking. You're gonna eventually like maybe make some money, maybe make some fans, upgrade your setup. Like you're going to get into it. So even if it takes 2 years to be like terrible, and then you kind of start being good at content, at least you
It,
started. But you've
I
made
think
like a crazy jump, and this is just legit. I love it.
Thanks,
I think
thank
the
you.
hardest thing a lot of people really kind of fall into with that is they don't feel fucking comfortable on the microphone. Everybody, once they turn on that camera and they know that it's on, they're like, oh, fuck, I press a button. I pressed the button. Like, if you could take it away and make it so way nobody knows when you press the button, I think everybody would be so much more
Yeah,
genuine and lighthearted with their comfort level.
yeah,
It's so weird to kind of just sit there and have a conversation with somebody for 5, 6 hours. They don't shut up. They know that they're being recorded and they're like, oh, fuck. What do I say?
what do I say? What do I say? Yeah, I the whole microphone thing, for me, I actually felt more comfortable writing out. Well, I actually I started just talking over the video, and then I'm like,
Yep.
this is not going to work. I need a script because I would just lose my
Mhm.
train of thought. And so I started writing the script, and that's when I'm like, all right, I just want to be non clickbaity. Here's the best thing, even if it's not the best thing. I'm just going to say, here's how it is. Let's get right into it. No long intros, just right into the content. And I think that helped me out. But my thing was, I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And kind of what you were saying is like, you just got to get started. And so,
Yep.
Caitlin, my wife, she had told me, like, hey, you've wanted to do this for a while. It's time to just start. And I was thinking, do I want to make like retrospective videos? Because I was looking at channels like Salt Factory. I really like watching Salt Factory. Private Sessions makes like 12-hour long Skyrim analysis videos, and I love watching those. I wasn't thinking about doing 12-hour long stuff, but I'm like, I like to play a lot of games. I really appreciate RPGs, the
Like
Bethesda
diving into
games.
lore and that kind of shit.
Yeah, and like I just want to do a full 100% playthrough, give my analysis of it, and then move on to the next game because I'm kind of like a checklist guy. I love achievements. I like completing, doing everything in the game. And I just thought, maybe I won't be as like I'll never be that good. I can't make that high quality video. Like his insight is just way beyond. I would never catch that. And so I've always played Destiny though. That was kind of how I got started with my channel. Is I played since like Halo 1, Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, Reach, every single I just loved Bungie, and then when I found out they're making Destiny back, I was like
Mhm.
22 at the time. It's like codename Destiny. Like what is this going to be? That's their next game. And when they said they were coming out with the alpha for it, I was so hyped. And man, I got in that. I played a ton of the alpha. I was sold. Once Destiny came out, that has always been like my constant game. I've
Yeah,
never stopped
hype.
playing. I've played every expansion. I've done every raid. I've taught tons of people how to play the game. And Caitlin, my wife, and my brother-in-law, he was just getting into Destiny, and he was like, "Dude, have you ever considered making videos? Because I would have never understood
Mhm.
this, but you kind of just showed me this last week what to do." And that was where I was like, maybe I just make Destiny videos. So the Pit of Heresy guide, I'm like, what do I do? I was so worried that people were going to judge me for my gameplay, which they will regardless, and you just have to tune that out. Uh, but I'm thinking like I have to do like a solo flawless or something. Otherwise, people are gonna call me like a casual, and I never want. I'm not a casual, but like, how do I show that I'm not a casual in my first video? So solo flawless, and I've never done another solo flawless guide of anything before. I've done solo content guides, but never a solo. Like, it's just not my type of thing. But then I got the idea of like, what about like a generic, just new player guide?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because I feel like most new player guides, they talk to you as if you already know how to play the game, where you're like, wait, hold up, what did you say? Like, not everybody. There are some really good new player videos out there, but some that I saw, I'm like, they're really alienating a lot of audience members, because the audience is probably going, dude, I'm more confused now after watching this new player guide, because it's such a huge game. And so I was like, I'm just going to make a really general one. And then that video did really well for me. I made like a general guide on weapons, which is
Yeah,
something
I'm
that no
looking
one
at your
else
most
did.
popular, and that's another one where it's like how to start playing Destiny 2. 156,000 views. Like you actually tapped into the people that want to
Yeah.
start playing Destiny
You
2, and then the weapons
found the
guide. Like,
algorithm.
yeah,
Yeah, that one I was so
those
happy.
pop-offs are great.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm waiting for another one of those. It's been interesting because over the last couple months I've been like super fortunate in order to get like some visibility, because I spent about a year and 7 months or so just uploading, and I didn't tell anyone about who my dad was. I just don't want to do that. Like, hey, here's my dad, now follow me. It doesn't go well. And so I decided to share with my audience after I'd made like 160 videos in almost 2 years, where I'm like, all right, I'm not going to be able to make videos for a couple months. I'll keep you guys posted. I made a video here and there, but I'm like, I promise I'll let you know why, but I can't tell you yet. And then I let everyone know. And then right after that, it was just like, oh my gosh, like it was
Yep.
a crazy hype. I think some of that was, people, there was a really nice tweet from somebody that had said like, hey, um, Garrett was just on the AEW Revolution. He also plays Destiny. He has a YouTube channel. We should go follow him. And I think a lot of people, which I was so thankful for, they were all like, yes, let's go. But naturally, what's going to happen is a lot of those people just are not Destiny fans. They don't care about Destiny at all. They're like, hey, I want to support this guy. And so I
Yep.
think a lot of people were probably like, over like a month or two, just like, all right, I don't really watch Destiny content, but help grow the channel. And that was so nice. So I think right now I'm at a point where I'm almost back to like a new square one, where I'm just trying to be like, all right, it's not going to be a Sting channel. Like, I promise you, this is definitely like gamer. We are like playing Destiny here. And it is cool because it has given me a kind of a broader reach, especially streaming on Twitch. I've met new
It
Destiny
stretches
people there,
you
which is
out.
great. Yeah.
Even like if you reach out into another game, and I kind of deal with something smaller than that, absolutely, but I deal with it a little bit too, because my job is on YouTube. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so you're this person, but you're also this person. Even if they're in the same field, it kind of like overreaches and touches each other. It's weird when somebody's just like, well, you're that. So therefore, I'm going to follow you or I'm going to do this. But it doesn't necessarily help. So it becomes like a new floor, but you're like, this floor wasn't even attained yet. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
get this person. They're not going to stay here long term. Why did you follow if you didn't care? It's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird toss up. Do you want the growth to get more eyes, possibly, or do you want the genuine growth that takes longer and it might never come? It's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. I think it's been cool because some of those people that did, they just would have never found out about my
Yeah,
channels
like
was
I play
pretty
Destiny
small.
and I like all this stuff.
Yeah,
Perfect.
exactly. There was a lot, and then there are some people that are like, I liked wrestling, but I don't really play video games, but I just kind of like learning more about Destiny. And there have been some people that are like, I'm downloading Destiny right now
Hmm.
because I would have never done it, but I found your channel. And that has been really cool to see,
Yeah.
like a completely new fan base. But there has been a lot of merging too, where it's like, I like Destiny, I like wrestling, this is amazing. So it's
I
really cool.
came from wrestling, stayed for you. I thought you were a cool dude, so I was like, "Hey, let's have a conversation," because I think it'd be a good
Appreciate
one.
it, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, and it's always awesome when you show up to the streams. I love it. It's just wild how um loyal some people are. You know,
yeah,
they'll show up to the streams and they're very active in chat. It makes my job so much easier. That's what I always tell people is like, as long as people are talking, I could do this for a full day straight.
exactly. I think it's hilarious because everybody's like, "Oh, streaming is so much harder than making a YouTube video." I promise you, I'd rather sit here and stream the entire
Yeah,
time and
for
sit
sure.
here and just bullshit with people back and forth than sit here and worry about having to create a script and everything else. My ADHD is too fucked up. I'd rather have chat moving so that way I have something to concentrate on top of the game, and I will
Mhm.
completely zone out and I'll be perfectly fine. But
No,
if I'm streaming and there's nobody in the chat, I get fucking bored and I'm like, I'm gonna go do something else. You guys don't want to
Yeah,
be here right now. I don't want to be here right now because nobody's talking. I'd rather interact.
I'm
If
the
yeah.
outlier. I'd rather make videos. I love
Make a
like
video.
just getting into it, making 20 guides, scheduling out all the content. If I stream more than 3 hours, like interacting with chat, that's draining. And then trying to play on a high
Mm.
level and like the biggest thing is I don't like dead air. I like to only be interactive and as engaging and like always at like 90%. If I do that for like 3 hours, it's done. Like I could stream for 8 hours a day and anyone can be a Hassan sitting in the corner
Yeah.
reacting. But like so I just
That
rather
would be draining for me for
yeah, I
sure.
would
8
just
hours a
rather
day would
make
be
my
crazy.
big videos and just like really researched in-depth stuff. That's where my mood is. And it kind of goes back into how you grew your channel because I was playing Pokemon. I knew EVs, IVs. You ask someone like, "Hey, do you EV train?" They say, "Yeah, I have Flareon." They don't get it.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
so that's my thing where it's like,
and
"Wait,
Vaporeon.
I put this information out there. People search it up because like Generation 6 Pokemon X and Y, that was like the resurgence of competitive Pokemon. People went,
Yeah.
"Oh, I understand this, the Destiny knot, the breeding. This is actually kind of fun." So the reason why my channel blew up is because if you Google searched like Pokemon breeding or any of the new Pokemon, I was the top result in a YouTube video in Google
And
search.
first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and first. So like my SEO was that good. You look up a new Pokemon like, "Oh, what is this Delphox or this Greninja?" And it's like Greninja moveset guide right there, top result of Google. So I was just
You
teaching
taught my
everyone how to
mom
use
how to breed and make competitive Pokemon.
yeah, like I taught everyone like and that was also going back to your beginner guides that's like you can't jump in as a competitive player. You got to start from the ground up. You got to go. There's an invisible stat that rolls 0 through 31, like just as basic as it gets. I was doing all that, and it's like you might not know this, but Earthquake is not good on a water type Pokemon because of stab and physical special. Like you got to
Mhm.
start over, and then channel blew up.
Yeah, it's those little things that no one knew. I mean, even me, that was my thing. Until
Mhm.
I had someone who really knew Pokemon in Gen 4, I had no idea. I was just like, "Oh, I like Groudon in Ruby and
Mhm.
Sapphire. Give me Groudon. I'm gonna level Groudon to 100, and that's it."
I'm going
And
to
that
teach it
was
Flamethrower, even though it doesn't work
yeah,
on Groudon.
it looks like a fire type.
I
So I'm
beat
gonna
Gen
yeah.
1 with a level 36 Pidgey on my Elite Four team.
Like
Yeah,
Pidgeot,
only
not
exactly. Like you
Pidgey.
just had your
oh,
Yeah.
fly
yeah, yeah,
slave that
exactly.
never got used or
No,
anything.
he absolutely got
Thank
used. He
God we
got
don't have
revived
HM
6 or 7
slaves.
times
Oh, exactly.
during the
Revive
Elite
fodder.
Four.
It just
Yep.
gets KO, or like your
Yeah.
Pokemon gets
Yep.
KO'd. You use it.
So you can revive it.
Revive. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Yep,
That's the
Exactly.
great shit about Pokemon.
yep, for
It's
sure.
funny. You learn like the base level dumb shit, and you're like,
Hmm
"Oh fuck, I'm good. I'm good. I could do this, even with
Mm,
being underleveled." And then
the
you're like,
best one.
"No,
Yeah. The best one, status moves. Status moves are everything in competitive Pokemon, but as a
Yeah.
kid, I'm not using
Like,
Screech. I'm not going to
lower
use
defenses? No.
Swords Dance. What's the point? Yeah,
Leer.
like
Why am I
stats
gonna
don't
Swords
matter.
Dance.
Leer?"
I'm only pressing Earthquake because it's a 100 power move.
Yeah.
Well, I remember playing Pokemon Stadium, and I didn't even play the story mode at this point. And me and my mom would battle against each other because she enjoyed Pokemon too. And she loved Lapras, and I could never figure it out because Lapras during Pokemon Stadium actually got broken fucking moves in that game compared to the other mons that
Yeah.
like had its stats. I believe it had Thunderbolt and Blizzard, or Thunderbolt and Ice Beam, and it was just overpowered compared to everything else. And I'm like, I don't get this. I don't understand where you beat this with rentals.
hmm
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Did you play
Yeah.
Pokemon Stadium?
I did, yeah. I mean, the original one I played,
Yeah.
but not nowhere near as much as like Red Blue around that time frame. I guess Gold Silver was kind of around.
My
Well,
Game Boy
Coliseum
had Stadium.
2000 was out during Gold Silver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, no, Coliseum was Gen 3,
Yeah,
and then
Coliseum was Gen 3.
Pokemon
no,
Stadium 2 was Gold Silver.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. No, I played it a little bit here and there. It was cool to see Pokemon in 3D. I really liked that, but then I always just wanted to go back to my Game Boy and play that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
The thing about Stadium is like the rental Pokemon, it was just random move sets. And
Yep.
sometimes they were complete trash. So it's like, oh, I'm picking the fully evolved Alakazam, and then Alakazam has like Psywave instead of Psychic.
And
Thunder,
Abra has
which
Psychic and Flash.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly. And then you
Yeah.
get like Abracadabra, and they have Psychic, and they have the stronger moves. So like sometimes you just find random Pokemon. Like my cheesy way of beating all my friends was I'd pick Pinsir because it had Guillotine and it just had high defenses. So it takes like 3 hits to kill, and it's faster than everything for some reason. Just lands Guillotine every time.
which has like 20%
Yeah.
hit chance, right?
But it's also like I take a hit, miss, take a hit. Oh, it's one shot. Miss,
Yeah.
miss, one shot. Doesn't matter. I just win because your moves suck. You're hitting me with like Thunder Shock on a Raichu because the game's poorly
And
programmed.
even if at some point I kill 2 of your mons and you kill mine, you only have 3 left. I still have 5.
Something, yeah,
At some point,
something
you're outpacing them.
happens.
Was it Gen 1? And I don't know if Stadium had this, but where the crit was based off of like, wasn't speed?
Yeah, speed.
Yep.
Speed, yeah. So that was like a broken stat. And that got fixed in Gold and Silver, I think, right? Because I never noticed that when I
Yeah,
was
the
like,
entire game changed. And
yeah,
that's,
when I was
that's the
7,
weird
8
thing
years
when
old.
you look at us. Our memory's like, oh, well, it was this way. It's like, no, it really wasn't. It changed
Mhm.
completely after that. It's not the
Yeah.
same anymore.
Well, it probably was like, man, that was why that fight was so difficult for me as a
Mhm.
kid, was because the crit was based on speed and I was just getting
The
one shot.
Pokemon that always baffles me, and I'm like, fuck, it really was better then than it is now, is Hypno. Hypno's dog shit. Hypno's fucking nothing. You catch a
Yeah.
Hypno in Gen 1, though, it can actually do things. It fucks up half the game.
That's
Yeah.
because special. It was
Psychic
just
is
special. There
broken.
was no
Yep.
special attack, special defense. So Amnesia gave you 4 stats in one turn. You got
Oh,
special
that's
attack
right.
and special defense,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
it was just strong. So
And it
like
was a
that was
plus, too.
cracked. Mhm.
Yeah.
Also, another thing that makes your life hard is the physical special split. That used to be tied to the types instead of the move. So I think it was like all fire type moves are special. So if you use Fire Punch, it's a
Yeah.
special move. So your Machamp is like using a special move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad
No,
that they
it-
fixed that later on.
funny.
Yeah, but still like just all kinds of cool mechanics. I love nerding out about Pokemon.
Yeah.
Me
Oh yeah,
too.
me too.
I fucking love it and hate it.
I like
some
watching
days.
speed runs here and there too. Like I'll do that.
seen a
I've seen
few.
the summoning salt videos on the blue speed runs and that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm definitely looking to get back into it. Like I was saying, Gen 10 hopefully will
Mhm.
be amazing.
Well, I have hopefully good news. Like if Gen 10 comes on Nintendo Switch 2, there should be no hacking. We have a good chance at the first time there's
They've
like
broken
no
that
hacking
cycle
in
pretty
Pokemon
well.
ever.
Yep.
Because the problem with Nintendo Switch 2, it's only the first generation of Switch. It has like the NVIDIA Tegra chip, and then it has the bypass. But you cannot hack a modern Switch. Can't hack a Switch Lite. Can't hack the OLED. You can't hack any of the models being released today.
That has to
It's
be just Gen
only
1.
It's only the Gen 1
Oh.
Switch. So if,
Wow.
yeah, if Gen 2 or Nintendo Switch 2 is completely locked down, they don't get to hack Pokemon. And that is
Dang, yeah, that'd
the
be amazing.
glorious god future I hope for Generation 10.
Especially
Now there's
because
Pokemon Bank and Pokemon Home, and everyone can just keep sending their hacks over. But there's going to be a moment of pure Pokemon, and I
where
and I
home is
hate
not there.
I hate the Pokemon
Yeah.
community. I'm like the big Pokemon YouTuber. I hate it because they all love cheating. They all say like, oh, there's no difference because it's the same stats. I don't care. He's still my champion. Kind of, I hate it. So it's like, it's going to be legit. And I'm going to have a great time for the first time in like a decade.
Yeah. That will be nice. Are you looking forward to ZA? Legend ZA?
I hate
No?
Legends. I think Pokemon Legends Arceus is the worst Pokemon game
Really?
ever made. Mhm.
I bought it. I have not played it yet. I've just
Mhm.
been I have it on the backlog.
I
So
played
it's
all
weird.
of
Some
it.
people say they love it, others say they hate it.
Anyone
It's
that
so
says they
weird.
loved it is lying for social media points, or they actually never played it and they saw someone else play it and say it's a good game. Like it is the biggest peer pressure game ever in Pokemon, and I got the rant, so get ready. What happened is like there's also a lot of lies. People are like, oh, it's the first open world Pokemon game. It's not. It's like Monster Hunter. It's open area. Like you go to an area, you go back to base. You go to an area, go back to base. Same thing
It's
as
just
Pokemon
bigger
Sword and Shield.
routes, essentially.
Yeah. Pokemon Sword and Shield did that. They have the wild area, which is really cool. I actually like here's the switch order. It's Let's Go, Sword and Shield, Scarlet Violet. Sword and Shield's great. Don't listen to what these cheating haters in the Pokemon community say. Sword and Shield's great.
I'm gonna play it now that I have a Switch. I will play it.
Yeah,
I play everything. So
you're gonna love it. Trust me. Like you get in the wild area, you're just gonna be like, holy shit, this is an experience. But Pokemon Legends, like they're like, but it brings so many mechanics. Except every single mechanic, except for like the battle styles where it goes from like strong to agile, is just in a previous Pokemon game, and they didn't like
and
it.
Strong and agile actually didn't change anything other than your damage, and sometimes you were able to move faster.
Yeah, it's like it's an empty gimmick. Like the only different thing about that game is an empty gimmick. But what I hate most is the progression system that you have to expand your Pokedex to unlock new areas.
Oh, yeah.
But so yeah, like if you've never completed the Pokedex,
based, which
no one likes that. No one wants to catch every Pokemon to get the shiny charm. That's like 1% of the player base. And you have to catch a Pokemon multiple times. Like it even says this on the website. Catching a Pokemon once is not enough. So you have to catch a Pokemon 5 times to get 5 Pokedex points. For 10 different species to get 50 Pokedex points to then unlock the next area to do that again in 5 areas. And then you battle like not to spoil the game.
If you take that shit out of it, it has the base of a game that could work if they actually added it in PvP and availability to play with your friends.
There's no multiplayer. You can't take your strong agile battle style and then go and fight a friend.
That's the problem, is like there is no correlation to what the normal game was. So you have a broken mechanic of having to catch something 50 fucking times.
Yeah, it's just the worst gameplay loop.
So even if you're like, okay, I'm gonna play like all these YouTubers do, and I'm gonna do a Nuzlocke, how does that work? It literally non-existent.
You just have to make up your own rules.
You have to catch something 50 fucking times for it to move on.
And then also because we're like old school Pokemon trainers, we have like this weird ball that isn't a Pokeball, and we have like in the trailers they're like, but Pokemon are terrifying creatures, which goes against everything because you play Diamond and Pearl. There's already established Sinnoh lore. Hisui did not exist. You can read in the library, and there's stories going back to 800,000 years where Arceus created everything. So the story's fake. It's just a made up fan fiction that doesn't matter. For people in Pokemon already respected each other by this point, so it's just bullshit. And then you're also like crafting each Pokeball. So it's like throw the Pokeball, miss. Throw the like Pokemon Let's Go or Pokemon Go style. It's like you throw it in the open world and it misses. And you throw it in the open world and it doesn't catch. And then you have to fight it. And then the catch rates are artificially low.
Hide.
Yeah. And the catch rates are artificially low in that game for no reason. So everything is just padded out gameplay where it's like miss, catch. Gotta do that 10 more times. I'm out of Pokeballs. I have to now punch this rock and punch this tree to get more apricorns.
Craft more.
It's the worst.
And I think I could even get Verlis to say the mapping of the game, not not anything else, just how it looks map wise. If it was done correctly, it's a good map, and the way things are laid out works. Now imagine taking away the one good thing about the game, the story and the map, and putting that in a city which is a third the size of the entire map of everything. And there's Pokemon ZA, and that's why it's going.
I forgot this started from Pokemon Legends Z. I just hate Arceus.
I got you. I'll tie it right back.
Yeah. Zach actually found it. Yeah, so it was already confirmed that Pokemon Legends ZA only takes place inside of Lumiose City.
I did see that. I think that they have to make Lumiose massive and very different.
But you've already walked through the entire thing.
Right.
How much more different can it be? It is a circle city that all ties back into the Eiffel Tower. How much more is there? To me, the only thing that they can add to this game without having everybody bitch and complain, you just said in Lumiose City, is catacombs underneath, which probably will happen.
I've heard that. Yep.
And the cave at the end where Zygarde is. That's the only two things that they can add logically that wouldn't make everybody bitch and complain that it's not
the
just
power
a city.
plant.
That's what they said. No, because
maybe the power plant.
Maybe
like they
that
have to
area,
if they don't, it's bad,
because they have to add an area, but they're at then kind of grasping for straws.
Yeah, the problem is no matter how big they make Lumiose, Kalos is beautiful. Kalos is like one of the coolest regions. You have all the seasons, you have all the areas. You go through the snow, you go through the autumn biome, that forest, and we didn't get a remake. It's the only generation that didn't get a sequel version. So we have X and Y.
We have to have one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Black and White 3, I think, would be interesting because I don't know. I feel like they just have to make it different than the other. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
but
would be
yeah,
cool to get a black and white remake in some way.
it's so weird because well, the thing is, my theory is the DLC for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is the black and white remake because it actually takes place in Unova, just in like a new area. You don't go back to the region, but like
It's
everything's a
like a
call out.
Jurassic Park
Yeah, it's like,
almost.
oh, this character is the son of that gym leader. This
Yep.
character is related to that gym.
Oh,
It's pretty much like it's just a Generation 5 fan service, the game or the DLC. And then
yeah.
they
I
skip
think
that into Legends Arceus, but then we don't get Kalos. We need to visit the entire region of Kalos. I hate
For sure.
everything
Yeah.
about modern Pokemon and modern Pokemon content creators and fake leaks. Pivot something else.
I
Or I
think
lose
that's
my
the best
mind.
possibility for a new game after Gen 10 is doing like a Jurassic Park level game where everything where this is this place that we created that you have to walk through this path. It's open world, but this is the gym path through the entire thing, and each biome is set aside for certain Pokemon and completely
That's
segment it.
Scarlet and Violet DLC.
I know, but I'm saying that if they put gyms in
Yeah.
that's probably what they're going to do next.
No, please no.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm just happy they're bringing Megas back. That's the one thing. I
like
really
Megas
liked
too.
Megas. I thought it was a cool idea.
Hmm.
I think they
Especially
should have
getting
been
like the
permanent and
primal
you could
form
have
of
evolved
Yeah.
Groudon's one of
things.
my favorites. I thought that was so sick. But Megas overall I thought was cool. Like just having one Mega, you never knew who it was gonna be, and becomes a Super Saiyan Pokemon. I thought that was sick.
I actually don't like Megas because as a competitive player, it's just like, oh,
Competitively.
you have to pick like this, and you're not allowed to use Mega Houndoom. You're not allowed to use Mega Abomasnow. So I what I don't like about is like even those like 40 megas, only like 10 were usable, and you're forced to like give it the Mega Stone item, and you have to do it this way, and you have to use it
Yeah.
in this. So like yeah, it
Mega
was really cool.
Kangaskhan was the
I-
worst. I mean,
If they made
I
it,
hated everything about that
if they made it so
in
way,
competitive.
if you had
Yeah.
the stone in your bag, the mega was available, and you could still have a held item on there that
That's way too
wasn't.
strong because that's Mega Rayquaza.
No, that was used only if you didn't mega it. So,
Oh
like,
yeah,
if you had charcoal on your Charizard, you could either use the charcoal for Fire Blast before you
Oh
mega,
yeah.
then you
that
could
could
mega,
actually
and
be
it would be different.
cool. There could be ways of like, because what if you go Choice Scarf and then like you go Agility with your Choice Scarf or Swords Dance and then you Mega and disables the choice? It would get fucked
Oh,
competitively.
absolutely. You
But
would have to have some sort of like
yeah.
curtail to it. But I'm just saying, would that have fixed megas for your mindset of
Well, then
it kind
that
of breaks
doesn't
it?
fix it because personally I just don't like oh you have to use this Mega and you have to
Yeah.
hope your favorite Pokemon gets Mega because yeah the Megas look fucking dope. Mega Kangaskhan, that's a cool Pokemon. Mega Gengar, Mega Lucario, all those like I'm happy they got it, but why not just have a fourth evolution or a third evolution? That would have been a cooler gimmick that has I think a longer tail.
Originally, I thought that's what it was. I thought it was just
Mhm.
fourth evolutions, and then I kind of was like, oh, it's just temporary. So like
Mhm.
after the battle, he's gonna go back to normal Gengar. Shoot, but I still thought it was cool. I got used to it, and
Yeah.
when they were adding more in the different games, I was like, okay, cool. This is gonna be a thing now. We're just gonna get more megas every game,
And
and
then
then they
they
just
stopped
removed it
getting a
entirely.
plus.
It's like
Yep.
just all right. Yep, that didn't
Yeah.
happen. Dynamax now. So
That was dumb. That was mega for 3 turns.
I liked Dynamax competitively. That was like a lot more strategic because like you have the double health, you have all these move changes, and you get like 3 turns to outplay your
I like-
opponent, or you just lose.
I
So
like
that was the chess right
Terrestrialized
there.
more than all the other ones.
yeah, I
Like
never
Mega and
played it,
Terrestrialized.
so I don't have.
Oh
to
yeah, he didn't play Gen 8.
Yep.
It's wacky.
It is
Yeah.
wacky.
The trailer, I remember
Everything can
watching
be
that and going
anything.
like, what is going on? 100
Everything
foot
can be
tall
a diamond ring. But
yeah, for sure.
so obviously you had a very, very different life growing up and stuff like that, I would assume. I think all of us kind of had different levels in life. But I thought this question was pretty interesting. What's something you had in life that you thought was normal? That when you went to your friend's house and you're like, oh fuck, that's not what you do? You don't
The example that I like to give is just asking your dad for an autograph. And so I thought that that's what you just did to every dad up until I was like 6.
That's
So
actually amazing.
there was a time I remember the time where I actually like learned my lesson, where I was old enough to where they were like, okay, no. But yeah, I was like, hey, can I get your autograph to my friend's dad? And he was like, no. He just got kind of awkward because he obviously he knew who my dad was. It's like, no, people just get your dad's autograph. And I just was like, why? Why do you get an
Steve, can I have
autograph in
your
the first place?
autograph,
I
please?
didn't know. I was just like, apparently you're just supposed to give a paper to your friend's dad.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, you're a lot of people like getting your dad's autograph because he's famous. And I didn't really even know what that meant because I was like 6. But I think I talked to my dad. I'm like, he didn't give me an autograph. And he was like, oh, okay. So that was one thing where I definitely was like, all right. I think that was when I learned kind of how famous my dad was because I just didn't know beforehand.
That's a really cool, unique like way that breaks down
Did
though.
did
'Cause
that
that you
shock
wouldn't think
you?
that. You would think like
Yeah.
maybe money wise or maybe some other fame thing wise, but autographs. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it got old for sure having as I got older when more and more people found out wanting just to use me, which has obviously
Oh, that sucks.
continued to this day where people
Stupid. Yeah.
are like, hey, they try and become my friend, whether it's at work or at school growing up. And you could just tell right away that it's like,
Yeah.
hey, can I come over? Is your dad going to be there? The amount of times I got
Fuck's your
that.
problem? Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, is your dad going to be at the house when I'm over there? Okay. I don't want you over anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
And
Nope.
so I learned that. And then it got to a point where we switched schools when I went to 7th grade. And I didn't tell anybody until maybe towards the end of the year where someone found out. They're like, why didn't you tell me who your dad was? And I was like, how did you find out?
Why does it matter?
I can't remember. But then everybody found out. And fortunately, that was a school where I had already made friends and they were like, oh, that's cool. But they were just my friend anyway. And I think at that point, they knew that I just did not want any part of it.
I
I didn't want to be
remember
used at all.
I remember in like 3rd grade, I had this kid. His name was Joey. And he was like one of the coolest kids in school and everything else at this point. And the Hardy Boys became like the thing. This was
Yeah.
after like WCW kind of crashed and everything else. And he jumped on it and he's like, yeah, well, the Hardy Boys are my cousin. They're coming over next week, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, cool.
And for some reason, I don't even know where I got it from. It might have been a thrift store, not sure. Never watched hockey, but my mom came home with a New Jersey Devils jersey. And this was right after like Jericho started coming out and all the jerseys and everything else. I was like, yeah, well, I'm related to Chris Jericho. So, what are you talking about? And just like trying to overclaim and it's weird because like I would have absolutely fell for that as an idiot kid of like, oh, I just want to meet your dad. That sounds fucking cool. To being like, wow, that's really fucking douchey because I completely understand where that's a douchebag thing to do. But I was a fucking dumb kid. I was an absolutely
Yeah.
dumb kid.
Kids are different. I feel like they kind of have a pass because
Yeah.
it's like, oh my gosh, because that's the coolest thing that's ever happened in your life when you're
Yeah.
in 4th grade. Like your friend, I watch that guy every week. And as a kid, your brain hasn't developed enough to hold back on those comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you have like 50-year-old dudes on or women, whatever
Yeah.
on DMs going like, hey, can I meet your dad? Can you send your dad this picture of me?
I get I get
It's
that for my work too. It's,
yeah,
"Can you send
it's
this
rough.
message?" "No. No, I won't." They literally have a place where you can pay them $10 to ask them a question. Go fucking ask it there. You're not gonna get it for free from me asking them. This is stupid.
Yeah. I think it's fine if they hey, I'm gonna take my one in a million shot. I'm gonna send a message. I'm
Exactly,
gonna
once.
see, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's bad when I've had people say like he didn't even respond to me or about any celebrity like
Yeah.
The Rock didn't respond to me and I messaged him. I asked him a question like he does not have time. I promise you. Like he doesn't have
Who
time.
looks who looks at
And
themselves as
yeah,
like, "You have to answer it."
yeah. It can
Brother,
be
I only got
brutal
so many
sometimes.
hours in the day, and they're fucking bigger than I am. If you get an answer from me, that's great. I try and answer people all day, every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a really weird fucking upbringing, and
Yeah.
something that I thought was fucking normal was like the power getting shut off. I thought that was just normal. That like, oh, sometimes the internet doesn't work. Sometimes people power doesn't work. Shit just gets shut off every now and then, and that was really fucking weird to me when I grew up. And I'm like, oh, so you just make sure it's paid and it doesn't go like I wasn't talked to about money a lot, so
Mhm.
obviously I sound like a fucking dipshit, but as a whole, like it wasn't there. My mom didn't understand exactly how to make sure everything was taken care of. So it was weird because all of a sudden I'm like, oh, my power doesn't get shut off for years when you just paid the bill. It was a weird realization at fucking 20 years old. And I'm like, fuck, that's all I had to do. That's all that had to be done was not,
Just pay the power bill. Yeah.
wait 8 months and have a $5,000 power bill and you can't pay it.
I feel like I
Yeah.
had a thought that was like, oh yeah, that was different in my childhood growing up. It was like a couple months ago, but I didn't know that was gonna be a topic, so I completely forgot and I can't think about anything.
I had a really weird one that I watched somebody else do a couple times too. So I don't remember if I told this story yet or not. So I'm not going to go into the story part of it. But we had a landlord and his kid and her kid was a fucking douchebag. He was probably like 100 pounds overweight and one of the meanest kids I've ever met in my life. But wrestling was his favorite thing. But every time he went to the store, he threw a hissy fit, and his sister would get a full sized, the round cakes that are like 8 inches, 9 inches.
Uh-huh.
She got
Yeah.
one of those for herself. She was like 450 pounds at like 13. And he threw a hissy fit about everything and got whatever he wanted. But when he would go home and he would shit, he was in the bathroom for an hour and a half. And you'd be like, okay, well, that's normal. I still do that. No, he would shit for about 5 minutes and then proceed to sit in the bathtub for another hour to make sure everything was out.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't even understand what the fuck he was doing in the bathtub, but he would take a bath after shitting, which to me just sounds like you're sitting in a shitty jacuzzi, but I'm really kind of confused. But yeah, I don't understand where he thought that was normal. That was one of the things that
Definitely
stuck
not
out to me as a
normal.
kid. No, no,
Yeah.
it's really not. Like a
Yeah, you
shower,
wonder how
sure, I
often
get
something
it.
like that happens.
Making sure you're clean, but like, why are you gonna sit in the bathtub? It's kind of
Yeah.
weird.
Just making it disgusting. No, yeah, no thanks. I'm not about that.
Nah, it's insane. So I kind of weaved a question and I don't want it to come off incorrect, but I apologize if it
Okay.
does. So obviously with trying to go into YouTube and streaming and stuff like that, and your dad is one of the probably greatest storytellers, especially without saying very much. Did that level of storytelling, obviously, because he probably helped create a lot of those characters and stuff like that, did that help you want to create content or like your drive to do something creative?
That is a really good question, actually. Wow. Maybe like without me even realizing it, that
Yeah.
could have been it. I don't think. I think just watching him over the years, I've adapted a lot of his personality traits, even
Mhm.
his storytelling style. Not wrestling storytelling, but just
Yeah.
talking in person. I feel kind of tell stories the same way, and that whole side of it, I like bringing something. I like getting excited about something and sharing that with other people.
Yeah.
And so I
Absolutely.
think that kind of led into the YouTube side where I had always, I would say for probably 10 years or so, I'd wanted to do YouTube. I just had no idea what I wanted to do, like I was saying earlier, where I'm just thinking it's too late. No one's ever going to watch my stuff. There's a million channels that could do what I do better. And I don't have anything interesting or valuable to add, but I'm really passionate about this and I like sharing it with my friends. And then, yeah, eventually I just kind of bit the bullet. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do this. Who cares if only 5 people watch? I'm still going to have fun doing it because I'm just excited about it. So,
No, and I had the same thought. Um, so I wanted to start a YouTube channel for like helping guys like 16 to 25 of like life is shit. This is how to fucking handle it. This is what you need to do. You kind of just got to put your head together and kind of do it. And when I was that age at 15, I had fucking Woody's gamer tag. Now he's my boss, but like he was releasing Mail Monday videos about how weird erections are and put it in your waistband when you're trying to get up from school and shit. And it's like, okay, so that was my basis of how to do this and how to like weave something and try and help somebody with something or storytell. And it's really kind of weird just being like, yeah, well, that's what I wanted to do. And I guess in a way I'm still kind of doing that. But you know, it's weird how you kind of pull in pieces of everything that's around you or the things that you create or even you consume, and those things become pieces of what you're going to put out there again. that's why I thought it was interesting, because you don't just have dad on TV, or like anybody else creator wise. You're not just seeing this person sometimes, or even just the best parts of them. You're going to get everything. You're going to get the rawness while you're sitting at the table scratching on a piece of paper trying to figure it out. You're going to get every little bit of it, of trying to kind of come up with those storytelling pieces and stuff like that. So I thought it was interesting because it would kind of be a little bit more introspective than just face value shit.
Yeah, definitely. Well, now, I mean, your question alone has me thinking more of like, wow,
Yeah.
I wonder, yeah, I bet his just his ability to tell stories probably has rubbed off on me, and that's just why I wanted to do it.
Well,
Yeah,
you
that
Maybe
have
that's
time
the
I
to,
reason.
thought about that thing, or wow, that did kind of provoke something in my
Right.
childhood over time. Wow.
well,
Yeah.
you have his
I bet that's what it is.
creativity that of changing characters so often, and some of them just being different shades of each other, or some being completely different flips to everything. And obviously, you're not going to be there from the 60s or the 70s, but you're going to be there from the 90s or so. And as a whole, like thinking back, that's a lot of fucking different little characters that you could probably pick up little pieces of,
Yeah.
oh, well, this showcase this. That's how I can do this. Even if you're not thinking of it consciously, you might be thinking of it subconsciously. And it probably teaches you how to sell yourself better in different ways too.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think being able to adapt to different vibes is very useful instead of this is I think there's a good thing to being like this is who I am and I'm just going to be like this all the time,
Yeah,
but also if you're with someone that's interested in different things, I don't want to just only talk to them about what I'm excited about type of thing. Like
exactly.
I'm going to try and find out more about you, and he is really good at doing that where he can ask you questions and you're able to kind of spill your life out, and he can, even though he might not understand, like with my gaming stuff, he has no idea what I'm doing. Like he has no idea. He watches some of my videos and he's like, I
Wait, so you're
watched the
saying
video,
your
it's great.
dad, despite being a celebrity, is just a dad and has the
Yeah.
same dad quirks of like, I don't know this
No,
Pokemon, but you like it.
you
Yeah,
got
no, he's
thousands of people watching you, bud. I got you. No worries.
yeah.
I don't get
No,
it.
he never got the, I was the only one that got the gaming vibe, or the gaming bug, I guess you would say.
Are
Ever
you
since
the
I was
youngest?
little. No, so I'm the oldest. I have my brother Steven is 2 years younger, and then Gracie, my sister, is 10 years younger than I am. So
Damn.
I've always just, they got me a Super Nintendo. We had a Nintendo, an NES growing up, but I was like 3. We had that. We played Duck Hunt,
That
and that was my
that's
earliest memories. But I would watch him play. But when we got the Super Nintendo, it was Super Mario World, and I just
Same.
love that. Yeah,
yeah. I
Yo, the
learned
coolest
playing
thing
it's the
as a
Super
best.
Mario
kid
Kart.
was like what's like, wait, the levels with the red, that means there's an alternate exit and you have to like learn that yourself, and then like you hit
Yeah,
all the exits and like you get to the Star World. Like
the Star World,
kids these
so
days,
sick.
they'd have to look up guides. They would
Yep.
never work to figure it out themselves.
Yeah,
And that was the only thing you could do back then. And it was kind of cool because yeah, my dad got that. He loved Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario
Donkey Kong
World,
Country is amazing.
little too tough for him on the Super Mario World, but he played that and like he was down, so we kind of did that, but then he never went deeper into gaming. But still just like one of those things like,
Same.
yeah, it's super cool. And then Donkey Kong Country 2, best Super Nintendo game.
Okay, so I don't remember 2 as much. I remember 1 and I remember 3
Wow.
a little bit, but 2, I remember there was this one level that I always used to love. I think it was in 3. It was like a crystal world, like a secret crystal world that you could get to. But man, I used to love those games. The music was so good. It was so, I'll listen to like Donkey Kong Country
Yeah,
soundtrack still, like as just
same.
background music. It's
I
so
only
good.
played 64.
Ew.
64. I
Wait,
liked it at the time because I was 9 when it came
yeah, it
out,
was
and
wacky. It was a fun wacky game.
I'd
Yeah.
go 101 golden bananas, get that secret one. I did that a
Mhm.
few
I didn't
times.
even own it.
Loved
I
it.
played it like 1 or 2 times, but that's the only one I can remember.
Zach,
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch. You have Nintendo Switch Online. You
I
can
don't have
play.
Nintendo Switch Online. boys. Use code RMTS at checkout. Use code Verlisify at checkout. 20% off. Shows G Fuel. We love them. Absolutely the only energy drink we drink every single day. So go give them some love. They deserve it.
How not? Why not? The family plan is like $6 a month.
Because I don't pay for online.
But you
I know
do
I have
that.
5 switches in my house and I don't pay for online. Yeah, I understand. But like, no.
That's why I made the assumption, because it's stupid not to. Because for that, you
I
have
pay for
all the SNES
PlayStation,
games.
that's why.
I don't care. You have all the SNES games. You can play the Donkey Kong Country trilogy 2 nights with Nintendo Switch Online.
Wait,
and then,
I didn't know they had Donkey Kong Country on there. That's sick. I
You-
have it.
guys, it's there.
No, I have
I know.
Switch Online. I just I'll
My Switch
play
is right
it.
here.
Yeah.
And not
I
even
got-
on the charger.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm just like,
I got
the
mine right
greatest
here.
game. The greatest games are right there, and you don't know. I guess I
Yeah.
can only get so upset at ignorance, but my God. Yeah,
No,
you can replay Donkey Kong Country, Mario World right now, all the SNES games,
Even
right
at-
there with
even
Nintendo
at
Switch
3
Online.
years old. You
Yeah,
wanna
I
know
played Mario World.
what
Yeah.
I played on SNES? It was Mortal Kombat and it was Mario Kart. That's it. And Mario 3.
Oh yeah, Mario Kart on Super Nintendo.
That was a game.
Yeah, it was a game. Yeah. 64 is definitely
Mario Kart
the
64
one I
was the
played
shit.
most. Yeah. Yeah,
Yep,
I mean,
I
everyone
love
would
that
say
fucking
so.
game.
Yeah.
There was this game called Rush 2049.
Yeah,
That shit was fun.
that was the
64?
yeah.
Yeah. It was essentially a racing game where they had some realistic cars, but it was like you could pick up guns and you could shoot each other and you could go off boost panels and jump up in the sky and do tricks and shit. It was like an arcade game, but also a racing game at the same
I don't
time.
remember shooting each other in Rush.
There
20.
was, if you played the arcade mode, I believe you were able to
Mm.
shoot each other.
I only did the story mode because like finding all the secrets in that game was wild. Because you had like those tokens, and you'd have to like just go like U-turn around way out of bounds, and then like break
There
through
was
a
battle mode.
secret wall.
There was battle mode. I was right.
Then you break through a secret wall, and then you find like the silver token or something. That was wild. Same thing with like the.
I've never played it.
It was a game. It was just like a very basic racing game that was in the style of like Cruising the World for like the exploration stuff with like giga secrets.
I got to turn off my Bluetooth and turn it back on, so keep talking so that way
Okay.
I'm not trying to fill a void.
I mean, just everything from Nintendo 64, where it's like you could say Super Smash Bros. That was the shit.
Yep. Ocarina. I mean, for me, it's Ocarina for sure.
Mhm.
I used to beat it every single summer. I had the official guide back when I used to use guides as a kid. And there was something about just having a guide. It got all ripped up and beat up, but I
love being able
use
to
it so
read
much.
the story. Like,
Yeah.
and that sounds stupid, but like I
Mhm.
loved the availability of what that story was and what it meant. Like I legitimately have a Triforce tattoo on me. Like I
Nice.
fucking love that game. Top 3 favorite games of all time. Talked about 2 of them this episode. Have to
Yeah.
find a way to work in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. But
Oh,
There you
yeah.
go. You did it.
yep,
Just them.
exactly. All 3.
And
Nice.
then
But yeah.
that was actually what my friend did. Like every summer he would replay Ocarina of Time, and we just backseat games. Like go over to his house, snacks and soda, and just watch him
Perfect.
play his favorite game. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. I would do Ocarina and the Metroid Prime trilogy every single summer. I love those games so much. But I bought Metroid Prime Remastered again recently, and I can't wait to just go through it and get it. There's
Oh,
too
you
much
got the
going on
queue.
in Destiny right now, but once all that hype is over with, I'm going to play some Metroid Prime because it is it's such a good game. Just the loneliness that you feel, I really like it.
Oh, I
You're
like
just
that in
all
games
alone.
too sometimes. There's
Yeah.
like some weird ones where you get like that vibe. And the one that came up recently for me was Wet Dry World in Super Mario 64. That puts you in some loneliness.
Oh,
Is that
that's the
the-
one
The ship
where
one, right?
yeah,
the
ship.
water levels. No, not the
Yep.
ship one. The water levels that rise up and down.
yes. Yeah, Wet
And then
Dry
there's the
World.
underground city.
Yes.
like, you go
have
there
to-
and just,
the
like-
traps that fling you up. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm just like freaked out in this weird spot.
I know exactly what you mean. I feel the exact same way in that
Mhm.
world. It's so weird. Even the giant almost like the aquarium. I can't remember what that's
Oh
called.
yeah.
The
They
whole
just
thing
put
is
you in
underwater.
things. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
the
remember.
one
I
level-
heard
The
the
one level
perfect
I hated in 64 was the ship one with the fucking eel that kept trying to eat you as it was
Yes.
going in circles.
that was just an annoying world. That didn't make me feel
Yep.
sad.
No, because half of it was in the fucking Metal Mario. I hated that
Mhm.
shit. It's just all sluggish
Oh,
and
yeah.
slow, and
Oh,
if you didn't
so
fucking jump right, it was
so
horrible.
the phrase I was looking for that like I heard someone describe Witch Rywell like this, and it's like the perfect description. Negative emotional aura.
That is
That's
pretty
the mood.
accurate. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
That
did
but
always
that
make me
still
feel weird.
works. I but it's a fun gaming experience when like that just
Oh,
hits you.
I liked that map. That was the essentially like a play box map.
Hmm. Oh yeah,
I
like they
liked
had
those ones.
the
Yeah.
octahedron that was just RGBY for no reason. That
Yep.
was like how you move the water levels. It's like, oh, they just threw in a
Mhm.
random 3D asset from 1995. This game's weird.
Yeah, no, I like when maps do that. If you look at Call of Duty, you have maps like firing range that's essentially the same thing where it's like, oh, we're just going to put in a box map and put in basic assets and see if you guys like it. And then you have Kill House and COD 4. Like, I love those kind of maps where it's just basic and it's just like, figure it out. This is
Mhm.
so basic, an
Mhm.
idiot could figure it out, but you won't.
Like Shipment
Yeah.
in,
Well,
yeah.
shipment's not even similar because you have walls that you could shoot through and some walls that you couldn't. Kill
Right.
House, all walls you couldn't shoot through. They were all cinder block.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I played Call of Duty for a few games, like religiously. I played a lot of Black Ops 3 and a lot of Black Ops 2, and then some of the Modern Warfares here and there. But I just every time I'd buy it, I'd get so hyped, and then I would kind of fall off
It's
after like a
such a
month. I'd
quick
be like,
burnout
oh,
game.
okay,
Yep.
yeah.
If you don't
I
get that
wish it wasn't.
nostalgia kick, it's a burnout. And that's the
Yeah,
hard part.
Hmm.
It's either a game that stays or it's a game that dies. And I don't even think they're on the right path right now.
yeah.
That
That's
reminds me, yeah, talking about the Metroids, like that reminds me of another game I played that I feel like only I have ever played it, and that might be a cool topic.
yeah.
What?
It was called Finny the Fish.
Finny the Fish.
I
It was a
don't know
PlayStation
why.
2 game.
It just made me
Ah,
think that you either played Finding Nemo or Echo the Dolphin.
No,
I
it
did play Finding Nemo. I didn't play Echo the Dolphin.
because the thing that triggered that for me was the negative emotional aura stuff. Because that's that entire game. Like you're a fish and you eat smaller fish to eat bigger fish until you take on the boss. But then the levels get like more and more environmentally unsavory. Where it's like, oh, here's an oil spill. You go in the oil and you just die. And the boss is like some kind of mutant conglomeration of evil and stuff. And all of like the friends you made along the way just get sadder and sadder. And I'm just like, wow, this is a weird game. I saw it in like Game
weird.
Informer, and I did a lot of fishing growing up. So I'm like, a game where I play as a fish? That's the coolest thing ever in 2003 as on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah,
And then I just sit down like, wow, that is the most negative emotion that has ever been provoked in a single game.
Finny the
No, that's
Fish.
fucking weird.
I'm
So yeah,
gonna
like
look
any
That's
this
game
up.
that
weird.
like you've played that you don't think even exists anymore. Like it was just a complete fabrication of your mind.
Yeah,
Finny the
there's
Fish.
a
There
lot
it
of those
is.
little Mandela effects like that. That you're like, oh, I played this game. I don't remember what the fuck it was. There was
Oh yeah.
another racing game on fucking N64 that I'm like, just nobody had it. You could get the N64 logo as one of the cars. You could get a taco. You could get this hot dog. And I don't fucking remember what fucking game it was. It's like, oh yeah, I played so many hours of that shit. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, I went on the hunt a few months back for a game that those games where you're like, I know I played this growing up, but I don't know how to
Yep.
describe it. It's just in my mind. I can
Mhm.
remember it. And I finally went through the whole catalog and I found out what it was called. I ended up my aunt and I played it when I was probably like 9 or 10. And she's not a gamer at all, but she was like, I love this game. And I had no idea how to
Popular
play it.
over
It was
there.
kind of like an RPG. But I finally found it and I sent it to her. I'd have to look up my message to her to see what it was, but it was like a very negative emotional energy game like that you're talking about, set far in the future. And it's one of those games where you like press forward to walk forward a tile, turn left. It's like
Mm.
all right and left. Click on the icon to activate this, or to yeah. It was a very weird game, and I yeah, I kind of want to go back and play it now to
That's cool.
experience that again. Yeah.
And that kind of goes back to like the YouTube thing because you're talking about like, oh, I want to play all these games. I want to go back and I'm looking forward to this game. But to a degree, it's like, do I put that on the channel? And YouTube really doesn't like that, where it's like, if I'm not doing
Yes.
Destiny content that's getting searched and like viral, I will kill my channel doing what I want to play.
Hmm. I definitely realized that when I did a few Destiny streams, and then Destiny, as any live service game goes, will eventually go through a dry spell where
Hmm.
people are like, game's dead, it's over. No one's playing. This is the lowest the player base has ever been. So during that, that's like when I started streaming, but which was like right at the beginning of March. And I'm going, man, well, everybody's like, hey, have you checked out this game? Are you gonna play this game? Do you play other games?
Elden Ring
Um,
DLC's coming out next month.
Elden
You go
Ring
play pro?
DLC,
You go play
exactly.
pro? It's like, no,
Yeah.
Destiny content.
Well, I did. I played Dark Souls 1. I got the 100% completion for that, which I'd been just wanting to do for a while. And then did some Red Dead Redemption, and I live streamed those. I wouldn't make videos on those ever,
Hmm.
but they were fun to just live streaming almost as like a palate cleanser because I just did not want to play Destiny at the time. And I noticed a lot of the engagement on my channel just dropped, but I was having so much fun playing it that I was like, you know what? Whatever. But I talked with my wife, and she was like, "Yeah, I think you probably need to stick with Destiny, for at least for
Hmm.
90% of it, because I
Until
just
you break
started
like
streaming."
100K.
Yeah, well, I just started streaming, and after like 4 streams, I'm already playing a different game, and they're like, "All right,
Hmm.
is this guy like some casual player?" Like, so I've only done Destiny for maybe like 7 weeks now, 8 weeks, and I feel like that's kind of, now I'm back in the Destiny circle, which is good. So people on Twitch are organically finding me and like, "Hey, I saw a new Destiny
There we
streamer.
go.
I'm gonna find you." Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm hoping for. But a lot of the other Destiny streamers will take a break from Destiny to play other, like Elden Ring DLC. I I absolutely want to play that on stream. I think it would be so fun. So I might just say screw it and do it
Yeah.
because,
It's hard because I had this idea for like maybe a year and a half now, and I talked to Burles about it behind the scenes at least. I wanted to go through and do let's plays of games. I was gonna nuzlocke Pokemon games and then voice over the entire thing with like going to other creators,
yeah.
getting a voiceover for a character, helping them write some lines, and kind of doing that. And let's playing different games, whether that's Pokemon or Zelda or whatever. I'm like, this is a coin flip. It could absolutely blow the fuck up, or it could absolutely do fuck all and absolutely fail. And it's like, it's a lot of fucking energy, a lot of fucking energy, and it's a coin flip. I'm
Hmm.
like, I
Yeah.
want to do it because it seems like that's what I want to do, but it's fucking hard because it's like that's a hell of a bet.
Yeah. Where I would go with it, my strategy, because I have let's plays that I have planned out that I want to do for when Destiny goes into a slow point, is I'm gonna do it anyway. Like I will 100% the game anyway, so I
Mm,
might as well just stream it. And that,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thought process or bad, but
no, I think the same thing.
I might as well just do it on stream, because for even the almost 2 years that I was streaming before my channel, quote unquote, like blew up, it grew quite a bit. I was playing all those games on the side, and then I just go log into Destiny for an hour, make a video, then just go right back to the other game because I just didn't want to play Destiny until an update came out or something. So being able to do all
And
that
you want to
with the
show your
audience,
fans the fire. Your
yeah,
entertainment and energy towards playing the game is the reason why they're there. It's not just your skill, it's you.
Except not really, because they just want Destiny or they want
I
your
know,
core game.
which is hard. Even looking at people like Josh. Josh Palol is one of the friends of the show. He went to jail because of things he said on RuneScape. It's like, dude, if you get away from RuneScape, you'll succeed because
mhm,
you're a great fucking dude. He stops streaming other games other than RuneScape. He drops below 20 viewers. He streams Minecraft and he goes to 70. It's like, dude, they don't want to watch you sit here and click something and not play something that's interactive. It's
yeah,
hard because how do you make that bet? Would you guarantee 70 and hope that it works? Or would you guarantee 20 every single day, all day? And I don't know. I guess I'm frozen in the same spot. Do I take the leap and hope that it works? Or do I hope that I didn't fuck myself?
Yeah, and if you don't take that, like if you don't get that 70, it goes down to 10, and now your 20 becomes 10 because the algorithm hates you.
Yep.
That's like the hard thing. But fortunately, it depends on the game. Like Elden Ring, I'm pretty sure you could do anything on Elden Ring. It's gonna pop just because it's the big
Yeah,
game. But if you
everyone
want to
loves
go
it.
back and play like, oh, this is my favorite game from 20 years ago, you just can't make content of that, or else it's done. Or
Yeah,
you have to be like Twitch only and hope Twitch doesn't hate you too much.
I wanted to do like an Oblivion playthrough because I just love Oblivion and it's so
You might be
memey.
the
It's
only
so fun.
person that's feeling Oblivion right now in the
Exactly.
sphere. Exactly. It's like
Yeah,
this is
like no
only for
one
me
is
and two
searching
other.
for Oblivion.
Yeah.
No one.
Hmm.
So,
Can my 10 closest friends sit on 3 different accounts and squat,
yeah,
please? Because I need at least 15 viewers to make this logical.
yeah. So I've learned a lot even in the couple months that I've been doing this, and I have a lot to learn still. I'm not an expert by any means, but trying to plan out like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get every game done. I have this huge backlog. I'm gonna get every single one on stream. It doesn't really work that way. Like
Hmm.
there are some games that have been on my backlog for 10 plus years. They've already been content farmed. Like everybody's already made it. And if I can't add anything unique to that, if it's just me playing the game, eh,
Yeah.
I'm not going to grow like that. Maybe
You're
if I
not
already
selling it
have a
yourself.
giant
Yeah.
audience
Yeah.
and
And the
they're like,
retrospective
yes,
already has
yeah,
you beat on that game.
exactly, yeah, yeah. So I think you just I need to be smart about it. And Destiny really is like one of the best games, kind of like Pokemon, because there is always at least you know that something new is will come out for Pokemon eventually.
Yeah.
Um, you have somewhat of a steady schedule where it's like at least I can bank on like one. It was once a year
Oh,
for a while. Now they're breaking that. I know, but with
if you
Destiny,
aren't Verless and you're not against all the fan made games and all of that stuff, it is limitless
yeah,
because there is so many things that people make
ROM
with it.
hacks, mods,
Yeah.
randomizers.
Yeah.
yeah, I see
It's
something new
limitless.
every day. And with Destiny, just with the build crafting that you can do with new meta shifts, they'll adjust certain weapon archetypes and make it like super overpowered. And then everyone just changes the DPS meta where it's like, oh, now you can do XYZ with this damage rotation. Or it's just a literal new content that comes out all the time. And I think even myself, I've fallen into this where a lot of the Destiny player base gets very like they blast through the content. The people that play all day, every day, we blast through the content in one day and we have to wait until content drips out. But it's like, man, what we're getting is actually, if you think about every single thing in the game, we get a lot and there's a lot of content to make on the game. And for someone that's new, that's just getting into the game, they have, like you're saying, just limitless amount of stuff that they can do and content to make and watch. I think
Mhm.
there's a lot. We're definitely spoiled. The people that
Hmm.
just play the game and are like, oh, this is it. We only get this. But
Yep.
to most people, that's like, whoa, you guys get a lot of content. Oh,
Yeah, I love min-maxing hard grinding, but then you realize like the average person is going to have like 2 hours a night to play, and they might
yeah,
be putting in like 10 to 15 hours of gaming, and that's a lot for them a week.
I
But
didn't
if you put 100 hours into a game in like 1 to 2 weeks, that's all the content. That's
I
someone
had
that's
else's
it.
like six
Yeah,
months of playing.
I had that
yeah.
I had that same exact thought yesterday. Exclusive Ace, he's a Call of Duty YouTuber, posted this
Oh
video. He's
yeah,
like,
remember
"Do we have
exclusive days?
too much content in Call of Duty? There's like 250 guns in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 currently." I'm like,
Wow,
"Fuck, wait,
jeez.
there's way too many. There's way too fucking many." He's like, "Yeah, within there's 5 assault rifles with a 5-shot kill with a 800 rounds per minute." I'm like, "Wait, that's way too fucking much." I'm like, "Wait, I have every gun fucking leveled up because I was paid to play this game. Shit. I look like a dipshit, and I just sat here and played this many hours of Call of Duty. And I'm sitting here wondering when there's new Call of Duty coming. Nope.
Yeah, yeah.
I
You're
played
like,
all of it. Everybody else is still, enjoying it. I'm like, oh, I'm done now. What the fuck's next?"
yeah,
It's weird.
yeah.
It's weird
Live
because
service
burnout
has been
fucking
interesting.
sucks.
Hmm. And going back to like you saying, like just trying to still figure out YouTube and learning more things, the biggest advice I can give is search engine optimization. You want to just fucking nail those keywords everywhere. Title, description, tags, double them up. It's this kind of scummy thing when it's like you almost have to make your description just incoherent keywords, but that's how you get it. Like you get those searches, that
Mhm.
turns into fans, they give you watch time, algorithm just fucking, that's how you do it.
Yep.
Yeah,
and some of it
I
doesn't
have
make
learned a
sense.
lot in that. Yeah, because I didn't even know, like when you upload a YouTube video, I never clicked where it says show more. When you're like uploading a video.
Ooh, that's gonna be bad for a while.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's where your
so
tags are. That's where your game is.
like 150 videos. I just was like, oh, I don't need that. I'd put the hashtag in the description, but I've learned, okay, no,
Mhm.
there's a whole section down there that's pretty
Yeah.
important.
And let me
So,
guess, like your first thing in the description is like, "Hey guys, I did this,"
but no,
or
it's this
just
Discord. I
oh,
want
gee, that's
people to
even
see.
worse.
I want people to see like, hey, there's a community I can join.
If you put that in your
Because
auto links instead of in your description, it doesn't break your description search.
See,
you
the
what?
problem with the oh
Oh,
yeah, Zach.
So on YouTube, there's a place where you can put links that push you off of the website. It's like an auto
uh-huh.
linker at the top of your account. If you
Oh
put
yeah,
those links
yeah.
in your description, it will break your description search engine and absolutely fuck your entire video.
Oh wow. Okay,
Well, also like the thing about the
did not know
keywords
that.
is the keywords also have relevancy, so you want like your best tags on top and you want your best keywords at the beginning of the description. So if you're making like let me just look a random video on your channel, how to make your way back to Destiny 2. If it's not Destiny 2 new returning player guide as like the first sentence of your description, you're already just like bricking your views. So it has to be like
Yep.
very relevant, shouldn't have links at the top unless it's sponsors, like unless you have a sponsor obligation. So it's like it has to be just tags and keywords and description, and that's my best advice. Search engine optimization.
Okay.
Get rank 1 on Google. Make it to where your video from YouTube appears on the front page of Google when you search that idea. If you do that, it's
I
good.
had that happen on one of my live streams. It
Let's
was the
go.
craziest thing ever. I I don't know if you were there, Zach, but it was, I think it was my second or third stream,
Yep.
and I was just playing, and
Yeah,
then
you had
all
like
of a
40
sudden,
or 50 on Twitch and you popped randomly on YouTube. And you're like,
yes,
wait, what the hell's going on? And I
yeah,
watched you freeze and be like,
I thought the
I love
counter was
that feeling.
broken. I was like,
Yep.
there's
I've had that
5,200
feeling
people in
twice.
here, and they're like, yes,
Yep.
dude, let's get it to 6,000, and I'm like, what? There's 6,000 people in here, and then it got up to like 7,200 or something was the highest number I saw, which was just crazy. Um, I don't know what I did. I must have been the only person streaming Destiny at
Right.
that time, but
When we
they
had
were there
Ricada
for
on,
hours.
I
Like
had the same exact feeling.
yeah,
We had Ricada Law on and there was 7,000, 6,000 concurrent. Just watching the entire show, and I'm like, I gotta knock this out of the park, man. Like,
yeah,
this is cool as hell, but fuck, man, like this is fucking insane. And then
yeah.
when my boss Taylor fucking rated me, he's like, "Oh, Zach's streaming. Let me just give him all of my 600 viewers that have been sitting here for 6 hours watching fucking reality TV shows with me. I'm just gonna send him to Zach. He'll sit here and shit talk with him. My computer crashes midstream. I'm like,
No.
fuck, fuck, fuck. What? The chat was going so fast on Streamlabs that it crashed my fucking MacBook. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to use the website that we use to produce the show. And I just turned that on. And then I sat there streaming for another hour and a half. But those times where it's
Wow.
just like it randomly clicks and somebody helps or something just randomly gives you everything. It's like, could I figure out how to do that every time, please?
Yeah. I had
Every time would be
Clyde raid
nice.
me, another Destiny streamer who's pretty big, and that was really cool. So I've had two like pretty big pops on the live stream, and I initially was like, dude, I'm gonna crutch or I'm gonna choke hard on this
Yeah.
because I've never streamed in front of more than before a couple months ago. It was like my friend, a couple friends, and like my mom. I'd be like, hey, can you test and make sure my audio sounds good? And then it was weird though because I felt like once I didn't look over until they had already been there for like 15 minutes. So I was like, I've been doing this. I'm fine. Like just
Yep.
suck it up. You're gonna be good. And it ended up being a great rest of the stream. So now I
Once you
know, like,
realize the
all right,
number
if
doesn't matter, you're fine.
the number doesn't matter, it's like they're just they're watching you out of their own choice. They could just click off the video if you're not good. And that's one thing that I've gotten over is I thought that I had to be the perfect player, and any mistakes, which trolls are always going to be there, of course, they're just going to hate
Hmm.
on your gameplay. I've had those comments before, like, you're like dad DPS phase, because I might be using easier weapons or something. But most people are just like, hey, this is a nice vibe in the stream. Like when I see those comments, it's like, dude, all right, this is chill. Like people are fine. They're not going to judge you as hard as I think I will because you're your own worst critic all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly. Even having people tell me, "Oh yeah, you just sit there and you have no personality. You're nothing." I'm like, brother, I make money doing nothing. Then you sit
Yeah.
there and are complaining and not getting paid for it. Which one of us is having a little bit more of an enjoyable time here? You're
Yeah.
saying mean things on the internet and nobody cares. I'm sitting here and having people listen, and one of us is having enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate to just attack someone's character like that. If you're not misleading anybody, like that's something different. You should call that
Mhm.
out. But to just be like, I don't like you
Yeah.
because
Don't
I
like
just
me
don't
all you
like your
want.
personality. That's just
Brother,
really
you're
dumb.
sitting behind an anime picture. Like,
Yeah, click off the video if you don't like it. Yeah. Um,
My haters are next level. These are people that have been like following just to hate me for like 8 years. It's insane.
sorry to hear that, man. That is
you
I get
are a
over it
battle
because I'm just
holler.
like, well, the thing
Your
is, I
ideas
call them
invalid.
all idiots because it's just like, bro, you got no life and like, what are you doing here? And like 90% of why you hate me is just a straight up lie that you've been telling yourself this entire time. So that's how I cope with it. I'm like, well, they're stupid. I can move on and I'm fine. But that just makes them angrier and it just
Yep.
gets weird.
yeah, I that is next level. Just taking doesn't
Mhm.
matter if you agree with the person or not, just being that dedicated to like, I'm gonna sit by my computer and wait for this person to upload just so I can comment.
Yeah.
That'd be the
And then they're
first
like,
one.
you respond
Weird.
to me every time. It's like, yeah, it's my job. I open up YouTube. There's a feed right there that has all my comments because someone will like leave a hate comment on like a 5-year-old video. What are you doing reading a 5-year-old video and you're calling me the no life? It's like, it just told me that you posted 5 minutes ago and
Yeah,
you're
it does it by
you're the
the
one.
order.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So like a lot of
Buddy,
weird stuff they don't understand.
every time there's a comment on the video gets more views because it goes up higher in the search. So if you keep commenting and I keep responding, guess what? I get validation for doing it. So it tells me that my video is good. So like, guess what?
Yeah. Just wait,
You're
like five
helping.
years from now, people are saying you're irrelevant. It's like relevant enough to have you still comment and keep me relevant. So there's
Yeah.
weird stuff.
The whole irrelevant comment is it's just not a very articulate comment. I just don't think it makes much sense. It's like, okay, I don't get that because I am. If you're getting the views,
Mhm.
you can't say irrelevant if you don't like me. That's not the same thing.
I'm
Uh,
I'm irrelevant, but I get 250,000 views this month. Irrelevant?
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
the trolling doesn't make
understand.
sense.
I just don't. Like, you may not like me. You may think I'm an asshole. You may think I'm a piece of shit. You may think I'm fucking boring. You may think I look like I am a fucking crackhead. I don't fucking care. I don't.
Yeah.
If I
I had
cared, I would have killed myself before like I wanted to.
Whoa. Deep.
there were the bigger the video is, the more hate you're going to get naturally, just because
Absolutely.
it has more
Always.
of an engagement. And so, yeah, there are a lot of negative comments on the new player guide, the one with a
Oh,
lot of views.
absolutely.
I'm just trying to help people, and but there's a lot of people that are just Destiny haters that have come and just found new player guides. I think they're trying to, maybe their mission is
Segment their
good.
player
Like
base.
they think it's a waste of time game, so they're just going to the new player guides and typing in like, "Hey, this don't
Yep.
step number one, don't." That I probably have 150 comments that say, how to play Destiny in 2023. Step one, don't play it. Like, okay, well, whatever. I responded to them.
Thanks for the
It's
view,
starting
buddy.
off, but then after time, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
I'm not going to get through to them, and they probably forgot about my video already.
Well,
So I
the
don't want
part
to
of it
be
I
coming
like
back.
is they forget about the video, but I have the microphone in front of me, so me commenting back then highlights the comment and shows how much of a dipshit they are. So I
Yeah.
like that kind of aspect of it. That level of just conversation I really like, especially when people sound absolutely dumb. So when we go
Yeah.
through and we do an am I the asshole or an ask Reddit question, there are so many dipshits that have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Like we did one about a dude who said, "I want this kind of cake for my birthday," and the girlfriend's like, "I'm doing the opposite. I made a vanilla cake when you wanted chocolate." And
No,
this
it
this
was a
wo-
chocolate cake when like the guy's
yeah,
like, I just want vanilla. Just only give me a vanilla cake. And then she's like, I did a double layer vanilla cake with a layer of like chocolate, and he didn't like it, and then she got mad at him, and I was just like, yeah, I'm on the dude side, and then all the comments are just like, you're such a disrespectful,
Oh
gaslighting,
no.
bad boyfriend kind of person, and it's just like, all right, we got some
It's so
fun.
funny. It's so funny because everybody's so polarized and gaslit nowadays. And it's just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're allowed to have
Yeah.
opinions, thought processes towards everything. You don't have to be a dick about it, but you can say, hey, I don't want this. I don't like this, and have your opinion about it. What the fuck?
People are weird.
People are weird. Yeah, I think
Good
it's more
summary.
noticeable now just because of social media and how everyone can. It's very easy to get differing opinions and see every side of everything. You're in one way, you're in a bubble with the same people, but then you get exposed to every side as well, and you're almost told to just attack the other side naturally over years, where you're
Yep.
built up and you have these views. We live in an interesting place, that's for sure, and I think some people just don't know how to deal with that, where they see a differing opinion and they're like, I'm indoctrinated, I'm trained to just hate this person and everything about them and everything they stand for, even though I disagree with them on this one thing. I do think that that's interesting. That's an interesting take
That's
for sure.
being created with social media because like it's these people that their only experience with socialization is like they get a smartphone when they're
Mhm.
10 and they go on Twitter and Facebook and they only learn that. They find their tribe immediately with whatever they land in first, and then that's their only socialization instead of like learning how to talk with other people and figuring out the other side and developing empathy, or at least being able to like argue and be like, I see your point, I still believe you're wrong, and
I
being
think that's the
amicable.
biggest thing that's lost on today is
Yeah.
that one word that you said is just like, I can see where you're coming from. That alone diffuses so much, where sometimes that other person might have even if it's way different than yours, they have a reason why they think that way.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And at least
I,
trying to figure out and maybe find some sort of common ground. I feel like that's something that I'm pretty good at, is like, I might not agree with you on anything, on your viewpoints, but I'm sure we can find something that we both like, and let's just focus on that. I
And
don't
you
have
have
to
to
hate
do that
every
in
part
person.
about you yeah, and you have to do that in person. Yeah, it's
And no
very
one's
hard to
doing
do
that in person anymore.
I
So it's like
over
you can't, yeah.
messages. You
the,
always
the
misinterpret text.
the craziest thing that I learned in that aspect is, even if you're going to stand by your beliefs and it's going to be your opinion and your thought process and everything else, the only way that you're actually an intelligent person in that situation is fully and completely understanding how they got to their opinion. Their opinion might be absolutely wrong, might absolutely be invalid. But if you cannot understand and perceive how they got there, you are just as invalid as they are, because you don't understand any of the arguments against you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's
True.
hard because it's like you have to have empathy for the person that's hurting on the other side of the screen, because, nobody's fucking talking in person anymore. So that empathy is important. But if you're not going to be empathetic to me, why the fuck do I care? And it's like, okay, now I have to figure out why the fuck you're being a douchebag. And trust me, you're being a douchebag. It's just weird.
Yep, I agree.
Respect. People think respect is given, not earned. So they're just like, well, you're stupid.
Mm.
And then you go, well, you're just an asshole. And it's like, well, why are you the one attacking me? It's like, okay, you just completely lost it, and you just don't understand how conversation or respect works. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was weird trying to explain that to like my kids and stuff. Is you shouldn't have zero respect for everything every day, always. You should have, 10-15% respect for everybody always. And as people give it to you, you give them more. It's You don't start at zero. Like if your grandma or grandpa talks to you like a piece of shit, their respect goes down. It doesn't stay at zero and then go up, or start at 100 and then never move just because they're older. You have to allow that to
Yeah.
change and see and be in real time. You got to be able to understand what they're doing and how they're treating you and everything else, regardless of who it is. It can't just be because they're older. They're always given every utmost respect. Somebody's a douchebag. Show them they're being a douchebag. But at the same time, understand if you're being a douchebag, somebody's going to check you too. And it's
Yep.
just weird.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole like negative repercussions for your own actions has been lost, where you can type anything you want, and then when someone comes back to you, it's like, what? Why are you attacking me? It's
I
just
thought you never see this.
yeah,
Verlis, why are
yeah.
you wearing a fucking collar, you fucking weirdo?
Or
God
even
damn it.
in person, when you confront someone, it's a lot different than when you make a comment on a YouTube video that someone may or may not see. In person, it's a lot different, and you might not be as bold as you are. I think that's the whole like
It's
Well,
weird.
also,
yeah,
even if they are bold and you just like respond by like not caving in, they crumble. I've had people
yeah.
like come up to me and be
I
like, "Oh, so I finally get to meet the asshole Verlis." I'm just like, you that doesn't change. I'm not gonna run away scared or crying. I'm
Are
just gonna be like, "Why do you think that?" And then they go, I don't know."
I'm curious. Have any of them been like, oh, actually, you're a pretty normal guy? Like, I'm
I
sure
don't.
that
I
has to have
haven't
happened.
converted many haters. It's like because everything's just too polarized. But
Mm,
99% of my interaction with people in real life are just like, "You're the coolest dude ever. I'm so happy I get to meet you and let's talk Pokemon." So like, it's very rare like that, and you hear that from everyone. It's just like it's actually rare to find a hater, even
even
if
our
you have an
interaction.
overwhelming amount of like negative comments at some points.
mm.
And then I've had a few, but it's still just like, yeah, mostly everyone just is cool. The biggest one is like I get old fans. I get people that say like I fell out of Pokemon back in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I haven't played in 6 years, but I still remember your content. And it's really cool I got to meet you even though I don't play anymore. So like that makes me
That's
feel a
cool.
lot better. Where it's like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm not turning my fans away. They're just growing out of Pokemon, and there's nothing I can do about that, and they still like me. So if that's where the fall off happens, at least it's that. It's at least it's not I'm turning half my audience into haters
Yeah,
hmm
because that'd be
I
bad.
see it a lot like the old school inner city kind of way of saying what the fuck you mean. If I say something in this microphone or through a keyboard, I would say it to your face. And if I would say it to your face, I'd say it through a keyboard or a microphone. You're either going to hear my blunt, honest reactions to things, or it's just going to be exactly that. It's going to be the base face level shit. If I'm saying something, there's probably a reason I'm saying it. If I'm going to be direct about something, there's a reason I'm going to be direct about it. If I call
Hmm.
you an asshole, you're probably being an asshole.
yeah.
I don't understand why everybody thinks that life is different now because there's a screen in front of you. There's repercussions for saying something, so have the availability to say what the fuck you mean. If you don't want
Yeah,
the repercussions for it, you probably shouldn't have said it. And you probably don't want to say it that badly if you're afraid of the repercussions of it.
that's true. Yeah, I think we're probably the tail end, the last generation of people that had
Hmm.
that in person. Where if we had a problem with someone, you just talk to them in person, and it was right after us. It was just it all changed. It was like right at the end of my high school, college era where all social media really came into fruition, where people just yeah stopped talking to each other face to face, or they talk to each other behind each other's backs. And,
Yep.
it's so crazy
It's also
how
so
all
easy to
that's
do in
changed.
DMs.
It's so easy, yeah, and it's so easy to mess up too.
And it's
Oh,
weird how some
I
people
texted that
perceive
person on
certain
accident.
things are negative. That shit gets weird. Where it's always something weird like I said something sort of gray area and now everybody's butthurt about it. It's like I said I don't understand or I don't know what you do. That's
Mm,
not negative. I'm not popping a shot. I'm saying it's not my job to know what the fuck you do. That's
yeah.
not negative. It's not negative at all. It's weird. It's so weird how some people just perceive those things kind of all fucked up. It's weird.
Yep. My dad, I just always he has this saying, this phrase, which I don't think it's his phrase, but one thing that he's always said is just like less is more. And usually that has always worked out in my favor where like if I have really strong opinions on something, sometimes I just need to hold back just a little bit and be like, all right, let me think about this. Like you're saying, where it's like this person might have something that like a valid point or something, instead of just blasting right away and just sharing my opinion and just destroying this person, I could very well be missing something on my own, which has happened so many times. So I don't think I was always like that. High school, college age, I would just like share even on like social media. I mean, you look
Hmm.
at your social media from 10, 15 years ago. I've had to delete stuff. Just be like, I am
Hmm.
embarrassed that I ever said that.
Yep. I
Why did
private
I
shit
give
all
my
the time.
opinion on this thing? That it's not even important. Like, what was I
Just
saying?
edgy shit that's like,
Super
okay,
edgy. Yeah.
funny absolutely cannot be said by anybody ever. You're
Yeah.
an asshole, Zach. Shut up.
Yes.
Fuck.
So the whole less is more thing, like if it doesn't really need to be viewed by the entire world, And if I don't really want to say it, I'm just not going to say it. That has served me well so far.
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's all I'll
So
say about that.
I want to do
Hey,
fuck
Zach, what's that on
camera.
your arm?
I
Oh,
got the
there it
tattoo
is,
finished. Yeah.
dude.
So it's all the way done.
That's so
That part of it.
crazy,
Yep.
man. The sting looks so menacing.
Yeah. So
That's
he
like his
speaks
like
no
pissed
evil
off
as a
face.
part of it. Yep.
Yeah. That's
It was
sick.
one of his pictures for the game, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was
And I
right when he
hand drew all
turns
of it.
around
Yep.
in the 2K game when they're
Yep.
playing the
And I hand
violins.
drew all of it, and then the tattoo cleaned it. The
Wow,
tattoo artist cleaned it up.
that's
So
amazing.
with all of that and everything else, what was the character you kind of drew yourself to watching wrestling and stuff of your dad? What character were you like, that one? That one's the good one. Is it the surfer sting like your hair? Like you had to
Probably
play as?
Surfer. Yeah, I would say just because my earliest memories of my dad were when he was Surfer Sting, and
Yeah.
I remember before he went to Crow, and I remember when he was growing his hair out. I noticed like, wait, Dad, why is your hair long? There's one day where we were driving in the car. I was like 6. Why is your hair long? He's like, oh, I'm not doing bleached hair anymore. I'm growing my hair out. It's gonna be really long, you know.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, when did that happen? I just all of a sudden one day I felt like his hair was like kind of by his ears. But no, the whole Surfer Sting, I have a lot of great memories of all eras of Sting, but the Surfer Sting, I just loved the energy and the character of that a lot. It just going back and watching all those old videos and how people would just freak out anytime he would show up was it's just so cool to watch. It never gets old.
Yeah, it's really weird. So there's a YouTube series called, what the fuck is it? Um, I can't fucking think of it. Goddamn, I had a
Dang.
fucking thought and it just disappeared. So it's a he went back and explained all of like the 90s wrestling stuff and stuff like that. Trying
Okay.
to find the channel. And it's a fucking great channel. And he went back through all the storylines and explains all of them and everything else. And I'm like, shit, I love this generation of Sting. And I've been going through absolute hell for like the past couple of years now with life and everything else. And Sting's ability to kind of just not talk for all of 96 kind of stuck out to me,
Mhm.
which is why I got the tattoo of speak no evil and everything else. It's like, that's really, really poignant. It's a really good point. At some point, you might have to defeat the biggest fear of yours with silence. You might have to fight everything in just not being able to say anything. Uh, Wrestling bios. It's called where the hell did it go? Um, Reliving the War is the series. But
Okay.
he went through all of the 90s and stuff like that. Great channel. Cool as shit. Gave me a whole bunch of nostalgic trips. But
That's awesome.
I liked the idea of just being able to deal with shit. Like I haven't talked about any of the shit going on current wise at all because there's no point to. When shit's active and everything's going on, you're either going to be super super emotional or it's going to bite you in the ass. And neither one of those things I accept. So you know what? I'm just going to sit back and chill and be quiet and be stoic as best as I possibly can. And it's like that
Mhm.
character was that. He defeated Hulk Hogan by not saying a goddamn
Wait,
thing.
so that's where speak
Yeah.
no evil
It's true.
comes from? Whoa, it's like
Yeah.
you found meaning in symbolism.
Well, symbolism in something that most people don't even really see.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Yeah.
pointing out for those who haven't caught it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I sent a Google Doc link. Normally, I tell a story at the end of the podcast of some fucked up, weird shit from my life. Feel free to pick one. But yeah, I thought it was a cool thing with having you come on and stuff like that. I was like, oh, well, I just won't post the tattoo update to show everything shaded in and everything until he comes on because
Yeah,
he
no,
said
that
he's
was
coming.
good. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
saw the initial one in the Discord, and now
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
really
Now I
cool,
can
man.
post an updated picture. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I thought it was cool to kind of just tie it together with the episode. So
It's
yeah,
perfect,
in
man.
the private chat on the right, there is a link there for Google Docs. You can see all of the stories that I have, and you can feel free to pick one. They're all clickbaity as shit, and fun,
Oh, okay.
and they are in chronological order.
There's more than I remember seeing on this list.
But I've added
Zach, yeah, Zach
10
Wait.
keeps
since. Yeah,
Okay, so is this a question I'm picking?
Whatever story
It
you want to
prompts me
hear about
towards the story.
Zach's,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
childhood.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I like this. Let's do
There.
bomb
Yeah,
sign.
there's
I want to hear bomb sign.
Okay. So,
number 66. Good choice.
yep. Now I got to make that one. Oh, I'm not even on the right account. I got to make that green later. So, I worked as a detailer for a car dealership for about 3 years. He was my best friend at the time. He was the same age as my mom, but he was super, super like outgoing, energetic, and just played video games and was like, I do 80 hours worth of work. Every other hour worth of my downtime is fun. I work a 40-hour work week. I run a car dealership out of my yard the other 40 hours and whatever hours I'm needed. I'm just going to have fun. But he's also my stepdad's best friend from his childhood. So, like, there's so many family intertwining and stuff like that, that it was just super, super lighthearted. I'm going to have fun and shit like that. Another weird part, my house was open door. So there was like 5 to 10 people that had keys of my house at all times. And any other time the door was unlocked, you could come to my house at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And if you were one of the family, you were allowed in. You could come sleep on the couch. You didn't have to say anything. You were just there.
That's intense. Trust.
Oh, it caused me lots of anxiety for a very long time after that. But nothing negative happened other than shit being taken, like cars and stuff like that, because of shipping repo. But it was interesting because he would take us in the car and we would go and listen to music and have fun and stuff like that. But his favorite game ever was taking a pile of rocks, putting them in his front seat, and we would drive around old backcountry roads and try and see how many signs we could hit as we were driving. But rocks weren't the only things we threw. He would throw in half bottles worth of like soda that he sealed, and the bubbles are gone. That soda bottle's useless. Why not throw it at a sign? So it got really bad. So one night, my cousin came over. She was like my best friend at the time. She was my sister, essentially. Like we told each other everything. She was my oldest kid's godmother, and she was just always there. She was literally there 7 days a week. Sometimes she slept there, like it was half and half. She slept at home. And we went out in our green Honda Civic, and it still had crank windows, and it was fucking 15 degrees outside. And we go traveling down the road to her house, and we're throwing rocks at signs and rocks at signs and rocks at signs. And we pass her ex-boyfriend's house, and we're like, fuck, we got to do something. We have to do
Oh
something.
no.
So we get to her house. She's like, wait, I think I got something. So she goes into her garage, and she finds 6 bags of 2-liter bottles that were half filled with water. I'm like, why the fuck do you have half filled bottles of water? She's like, oh, we use these in case the toilet runs out and shit like that when the power goes out. Okay. That makes sense. She's like, but we're going to throw these at signs tonight because we're going to be driving around all night. We're going to have some fun. Okay, whatever. So half of them were like the 16-ounce water bottles, and there was like a couple 2 liters in there and stuff like that. And we get about halfway down the road, and we see her ex-boyfriend's house, and his mailbox sticks over like the entire segment of the side of the road for like the shoulder. So I handed him the 2-liter bottle. He's like, really? I said, yeah. And he threw it, and it literally crushed the entire fucking mailbox that's on the side of the road. So next morning, we get a text. Hey, did you see my mailbox? She didn't talk to this boyfriend for like 6, 8 months because he was abusive. He ended up holding her down and smacking her with a camera or some shit. And randomly sends her a text about his mailbox. And I thought that shit was hilarious. Like, why the fuck would you message somebody randomly? Yeah, I heard a gunshot go off in the middle of the night. Do you know my mailbox got hit last night?
Yeah, I did it, by the way. That's the response,
Yeah, no.
right?
So that wasn't the biggest thing we did with bombing signs. This thing makes me feel bad. So if you know New York State, there's a main road that goes through all of New York State. It's called the Thruway. It's a toll road and everything else, and it has bridges that go over it and stuff like that. It's a main normal kind of highway that segments the entire state. And a couple of the roads that transported us from town to town were just highways essentially that went over it. And there was the big green fucking signs to go on the Thruway and everything else. And he's like, you know what, man? This is the one sign I never hit. So it was a bridge that went over the Thruway, and there was a green sign on the fucking mountain above us. So we're on a bridge, they're going underneath, and the sign showing us where to go. Big, one of those big ass fucking signs is bigger than a house. He's like, I want to hit that one. I'm like, you're a fucking dipshit. You're not going to hit this one. He's driving the car one-handed, and he's throwing a rock over top of the car, over top of the bridge, and hitting the sign. I'm like, you're not going to do this. This is a bad fucking idea. But you're going to do this anyway. So let's see what happens. I was like, okay, so he's going to throw it like when we're 3/4 over the bridge. So that way there's no risk, right? Like there might be a little bit of risk of it bouncing off the sign, hitting a car underneath, whatever. That's slight, but not crazy. No, this motherfucker throws it at the beginning of the bridge. We're going 70 in a fucking Camaro, and he whips it and throws it up over top of the car and over top of the bridge at the beginning of the bridge. And I literally felt like my heart stopped. Just everything stopped. I'm like, what? And you hear bang, and you watch it hit the sign. I'm like, oh my God. Like, it wasn't even excited that he did it. I'm happy nobody fucking died. Because like, if you go wrong, there's a big fucking problem here. People down there are going 70. You're going 70. This is a fast fucking problem.
Yeah.
I'm like, you hit the sign. Yeah. We never went bomb. We bombed signs one more after that. And there was this one sign on my home road that was literally right on the shoulder, because there was no shoulder on this road. It was literally a cliff. And if you hit it correctly in the center of it, it sounded like a gong went off, and it didn't stop for a good 20 minutes. It was hilarious. But yeah, we never went bomb sign after that. Thank you guys. Thank you, Stefan. It was a great fucking episode. We'll see you fucking next time.